The legitimate princess of Great Yang, Su Tangyu, was reborn. After being reborn, the first thing she did was agree to marry the northern Di in half a month. The second thing she did was kneel before the Buddha and kowtow 9,999 times, making 3 wishes. Buddha above, your faithful follower is grateful for this rebirth. First, I pray for a successful marriage, to protect the peace and tranquility of the people of Great Yang. Second, I wish to sever all ties with my family and my fiancé, Shen Lingmo. Third, I wish that my fiancé, Shen Lingmo, and his beloved Su Yaoyao can be together forever and grow old together. After finishing her wishes, Su Tangyu's forehead was already red and swollen from kowtowing, but she didn't utter a sound. In her previous life, she stubbornly refused to marry into another country and married Shen Lingmo as she wished, but she was completely rejected by everyone. When the news of Su Yaoyao's tragic death in Beidi reached Dian, she was poisoned and killed by Shen Lingmo himself with Qianji, her intestines rotting. That kind of pain was too unbearable. In this new life, she dared not want Shen Lingmo again. After making her wish, Su Tangyu staggered out of the Buddhist hall, leaning against the wall. I had just looked up when I was blocked in the hallway by my fiancé, Shen Lingmo. You look terrible. Have you finally learned your lesson from falling into the water? If you dare to deliberately spill tea on Yaoyao again, I'll kick you into the lotus pond next time to sober you up. His words were like a cold wind, making Su Tangyu shiver. She had just been reborn on the day she was kicked into the lotus pond by Shen Lingmo. The Su Yaoyao mentioned by Shen Lingmo was originally an orphaned girl specially chosen by the Empress Dowager to marry the northern Di on her behalf. Across 2 lifetimes, Su Tangyu looked at the Marquis of the Realm's son, whom she had loved to the core, and felt no flicker of emotion. She only asked faintly, "What brings you here to me?" Shen Lingmo was surprised. "Why haven't you clung to me today, crying about your grievances and injustices like you used to?" Su Tangyu smiled wryly, tugging at the thin cloak to wrap herself tighter. Crying is only worthwhile if someone cares, but in reality, her world had changed ever since Su Yaoyao entered the palace at the age of 12. She was clearly the Great Yang's princess, but whenever she was compared to Su Yaoyao, she always had to give way, let the palace, let the title of princess. As long as Su Yaoyao has an accident, it's all because she's jealous and targeting her. Her explanation is just being unrepentant. Her world has long been reduced to just herself. Seeing Su Tangyu standing in the wind, her thin body looked as if it could be blown away. Shen Lingmo frowned and coughed, awkwardly saying, "Since you know you're in the wrong, then hand over the betrothal jade pendant I gave you and give it to Yaoyao as compensation." Yaoyao really likes the pattern on that jade pendant, but Su Tangyu understood that Su Yaoyao didn't like the pattern on the jade pendant, but was simply in the habit of snatching things that originally belonged to her. Su Tangyu. This kind of trick had played out countless times in her previous life. Seeing that she didn't answer, Shen Lingmo frowned, his voice gradually turning cold. "But that's just an inanimate object. Yaoyao was left with only half a life by you 2 years ago, and now she has to go to make peace for you. Can't you be a little more generous and give the jade pendant to here?" Su Tangyu took off the jade pendant from her waist and handed it over, holding back the rest of Shen Lingmo's words. Her face flushed. Su Tangyu stopped caring about what he thought and walked back on her own. By the time she returned to the princess's palace, it was already evening. Before she could even take a hurried sip of hot water, the nanny told her to start copying Buddhist scriptures. The rule of copying Buddhist scriptures was personally decreed by her beloved royal grandmother, who said that her fate was cursed against Su Yaoyao, and that if Su Yaoyao felt unwell, she would have to copy Buddhist scriptures to atone for her sins. It was late into the night when Su Tangyu finally finished copying 100 copies of the repentant scripture. She took the scripture and delivered it as usual to the west hall of the princess's palace. Su Yaoiro's residence, but as soon as she arrived at the West Hall, she heard Su Yaoiro's sobbing from inside. Lingmo, hold me tight, let me feel you completely, I really love you so much. I agreed to marry in my sister's place, but I don't want to give myself to a barbarian in half a month. You gave me the engagement jade pendant, that means you like me too, right? Take me, please, be my first man. Su Tangyu froze, peering through the crack in the door, only to see Su Yaoyao had stripped down to her doo-doo, straddling Shen Lingmo's lap, and Shen Lingmo, his eyes bloodshot, gripped the woman's slender waist, ravaging her like a wild beast. Good, remember me, remember all the pleasure I give you. Shen Lingmo and Su Yaoiro's figures overlapped. It disgusted Su Tangyu, and she quickly looked away and left. Unexpectedly, she ran into her elder brother, Crown Prince Su Qian. Just 100 meters away, Su Qian's eyes were dark. Tangyu, you must have seen it too. Lingmo and Yao Yao are in love. 2 years ago, you almost killed Yao Yao. Now that you're giving Lingmo to her as compensation, we're even. Enough. Su Tangyu stared at Su Qian with a sneer. Don't worry. Now that I've agreed to the marriage alliance, I won't pester Shen Lingmo and I won't let your Yao Yao suffer any more grievances. Once she's completely gone, she won't be an eyesore to them anymore. Seeing that she finally understood, Su Qian was relieved. Don't be sad. Beide ceded 8 cities to marry you and promised never to invade, which shows how much they value you. We won't be stingy with your dowry, and you'll enjoy a good life after you marry. He actually put on an attitude as if Su Tangyu was getting a good deal. Su Tangyu couldn't help but deliberately taunt him. Brother, the Beide royals sometimes share wives between brothers. And even fathers, sons, and grandsons share wives. Do you think that's enjoying a good life? Su Qian's face stiffened, losing his confident tone. At least you're well fed and clothed. With that, he hurried away, staring at the man's fleeing steps. Su Tangyu asked one last question. Brother, do you still remember that before I was 12, I was your most beloved sister? Su Qian paused for a moment, but still left, seemingly not believing that she could let go of Shen Lingmo. But it doesn't matter. Family, love, she no longer expects them. In this life, she will no longer force anything that doesn't belong to her, nor will she rely on anyone. She will only rely on herself for the rest of her life. After a busy night, she fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, Su Tangyu was awakened by a commotion. As soon as she stepped out, she saw Shen Lingmo feeding Su Yao sweet soup in the courtyard, while Su Qian was directing the palace servants to move the dowry that had just been moved into her palace away. What are you trying to do? Su Tangyu stood at the entrance of the hall. Upon seeing her, Su Yao immediately clung to Fu Muqing, her eyes reddening as she pleaded, Sister, I really like the coral tree in your dowry. Can you let me have it? After the words fell, Su Qian continued to do his own thing. Shen Lingmo put down the bowl of soup and, as a matter of course, instructed Su Tangyu, if Yao wants it, then give it to her. She's going to marry in your place. Can't you even bear to part with this little thing? Su Tangyu laughed in anger. In her previous life, they used the excuse that Su Yao was going to marry a foreign prince to force her to give all her dowry to Su Yao. In this life, they want her to compromise again. She glared at Su Qian, who knew the truth. The princess's dowry is the honor of Great Yang. Do you want Beide to laugh at us? Su Qian looked away, refusing to answer. Shen Lingmo, however, grew impatient. If you know we can't let Beide mock us, then why waste words? Just give Yao whatever she cares about. Su Tangyu let out a bitter laugh. Do as you please. After all, since being reborn, she'd never expected them to stand up for her or offer any help. She turned to enter the palace with a cold expression. But just then, a palace maid hurried in. Your Highness, the marriage alliance document has arrived. Su Tangyu paused, turning to take it only for Shen Lingmo to snatch it first. He flipped it open casually. and in the next moment, his shocked roar echoed through the courtyard. Su Tangyu, why is your name on the marriage alliance document? The courtyard fell deathly silent. Su Tangyu stared at Shen Lingmore's trembling hand. Confused for a moment, she sneered sarcastically. Why do you look like the sky is falling? Haven't you always pitied Su Yaoyoro's poor health? I'm the one going to marry into Beidi, shouldn't you be happy? She'd never forget the ferocious look on Shen Lingmore's face when he forced poison down her throat in her past life. Su Tangyu, why couldn't it be you? Yaoyoro's dead. And she's always been afraid of being alone. Go down and accompany her, apologize, and atone for your sins. Now, who was he putting on this act for? Before Su Tangyu could say more, Su Qian cut her off in a fluster. Su Tangyu, speak properly. Lingmore, don't listen to her nonsense. Yaoyoro is substituting for the marriage, of course her name can't be on the document. With one sentence, Su Qian covered up the truth again. Shen Lingmore was about to speak. But Su Yaoyoro suddenly clutched her chest, her face pale. Lingmore, I can't breathe. I think my illness is acting up again. Can you take me to the imperial physician? At her words, Shen Lingmore forgot everything else. He lifted Su Yaoyoro into his arms and rushed out. Su Qian followed anxiously, leaving the once lively palace empty. Su Tangyu was used to this. In her past life, Su Yaoyoro had always used this trick to steal affection. At first, she'd felt wronged and lost her temper, but only got scolded. Everyone said she was petty and couldn't tolerate Su Yaoyoro. She'd cried herself to sleep at night, heartbroken and wronged. But now, she simply ordered her servants to send all the gifts Shen Lingmore had given her back to the Marquis of Zhengguo's mansion. When it's time to let go, in this life, she'd have no more ties to Shen Lingmore. In the days that followed, Su Tangyu kept busy. She studied Beidi's customs, climate, and language. Time passed quickly. One morning, just after breakfast, Shen Lingmore arrived with Su Yaoyoro again. As usual, Su Yaoyoro came to steal something. I'm sorry, sister. Grandmother saw how much I loved your wedding dress and gave it to me. You'll have to have a new one made. Shen Lingmore echoed. Yaoyoro is marrying in your place, leaving home for Beidi. It's just a wedding dress, let her have it. It was exactly the same as her past life. Su Tangyu smiled sarcastically. If grandmother has spoken, how could I refuse? She glanced at Shen Lingmore, then sneered at Su Yaoyoro. There are many valuable things in my dowry, Su Yaoyoro. If there's anything else you like, just say so, I'll let you have it all. Her words made Shen Lingmore uncomfortable. He felt there was something off about her gaze, as if what she was giving up wasn't just things, but him. He frowned and retorted, you don't have to give her anything. I'll buy whatever Yaoyoro wants. With that, he tried to leave with Su Yaoyoro, but Su Yaoyoro suddenly acted coquettishly. I have some girlish secrets to share with sister. Lingmore, wait for me outside. Shen Lingmore was pushed out, leaving Su Yaoyoro and Su Tangyu alone in the palace. Su Yaoyoro finally dropped her innocent act, showing off triumphantly. Sister, I heard that when you were 10 and sick, Lingmore knelt all night in the temple to pray for a Buddha bead bracelet to drive away your illness. Look, does mine look like yours? She held a delicate jade pendant amulet in her hand, waving it in front of Su Tangyu. Lingmore knelt 18,000 steps to get this amulet for me. Isn't it much more sincere than yours? You're so resentful, aren't you? How pitiful. Now, even Lingmore's visits to you depend on my charity. Tell me, who's the real princess? And who's the orphan substituting for the marriage? Su Tangyu knew Su Yaoyoro was deliberately provoking her, but all her heartache and jealousy had been exhausted in her past life. She kept reading her book, not even lifting her head. Su Yaoyoro left, throwing down a threat, keep pretending to be calm. We'll see how long you can hold out. That night, a moon-gazing banquet was held in the palace. As a princess, Su Tangyu attended, but her eyelids kept twitching. filling her with unease. She was about to leave when Shen Lingmo suddenly rushed over and grabbed her hand. "Did you steal the amulet I gave Yao Yao? The master said only wearing it close to her body can cure her illness. Are you trying to kill her by taking it? What are you talking about?" Su Tangyu struggled to break free. Su Yao Yao also rushed over, dropping to her knees and weeping. "Sister, I know you love Lingmo desperately. You stole the amulet because you're jealous he prayed for my safety, but it's the only thing keeping me alive. Please give it back to me." Everyone at the banquet turned to stare at Su Tangyu. Enraged, Su Tangyu pulled her hand away from Shen Lingmo. "I didn't take it. As a princess of Great Yang, I'd never stoop to theft." Before she could finish, Su Yao Yao suddenly rolled her eyes and fainted. "Yao Yao." Shen Lingmo caught her, his eyes red with worry. Su Tangyu's brows furrowed. Sure enough, the next moment, Shen Lingmo glared at her fiercely. "You say you didn't take it? Fine, then we'll search you." Horror-stricken, Su Tangyu stepped back. "Shen Lingmo, are you crazy? Great Yang values a woman's chastity. Searching me in public, are you trying to ruin me? I'm the legitimate princess of Great Yang. Who dares to lay a hand on me?" The guards hesitated to approach, but Shen Lingmo let go of Su Yao Yao, walking toward Su Tangyu with a cold expression. He grabbed her shoulders and tore at her dress violently. "If the guards won't, I will." Rip. Her palace dress was torn open, revealing her undergarment. Su Tangyu's pale skin was exposed to everyone's gaze. Blood rushed to her head, but no one stepped forward to help her. She clutched her undergarment to her chest, staring at Shen Lingmo through tears. "You'll regret this." Her grief-stricken, bloodshot eyes made Shen Lingmo's heart skip a beat. Just then, someone shouted in surprise, "Why did a jade amulet fall out of Princess Yaoyoro's sleeve?" There, on the ground, was the very amulet Su Yao Yao had shown off earlier. But the damage was done. Su Tangyu's honor was shattered. Exhausted, Su Tangyu pushed Shen Lingmo away. "You found your precious amulet. Can you let go now?" Shen Lingmo snapped back to his senses, fumbling to cover her with her dress. "I'm sorry, I was just so worried about Yao Yao." Crown Prince Su Qian arrived too, but only said, "This matter ends here. I'll order everyone to keep quiet about what happened at tonight's banquet." Su Tangyu didn't stay to hear more. She turned and left. She knew Su Qian wasn't ending this farce for her. He was protecting Su Yaoyoro's innocence. Everyone in the palace was sharp. Anyone with half a brain could see this was a trap Su Yao Yao had set for herself. The bright moon hung high in the sky. The walk back to her palace felt longer than ever. Su Tangyu walked alone, tilting her head back to hold back her tears. There was nothing to grieve for. She'd long since given up on the so-called family love and romance. After the moon-gazing banquet, rumors spread that Su Tangyu had lost her chastity. She became a laughingstock in the capital. Su Tangyu stayed behind closed doors, focusing on preparing for her marriage to Beidi. Shen Lingmo never came to see her again. It wasn't until the 23rd day of the 12th lunar month, Little New Year in Great Yang, that Su Tangyu left the palace to purchase books and medicinal herbs for her journey to Beidi. As she reached the palace gates, she spotted Shen Lingmo helping Su Yao Yao into a carriage. Su Yao Yao clung to Shen Lingmo like a limp vine, smiling triumphantly. "Sister, did you follow us because you heard Lingmo was taking me out of the palace?" Su Tangyu immediately turned to walk the other way. But after only a few steps, Shen Lingmo suddenly grabbed her wrist, running away. "You snuck after us anyway, why the tantrum now? If you want to come, just say so. Did I ever stop you from clinging to me before?" Without waiting for her response, he dragged her onto the carriage and took her to marriage temple outside the palace. Beneath the temple's marriage tree, lanterns blazed brightly, and the branches were strung with red silk scarves inscribed with lovers' oaths. Once, Shen Lingmo had brought Su Tangyu here to pray sincerely. "I, Shen Lingmo, swear to heaven I will protect Su Tangyu for the rest of my life, love only her, until death do us part." But now, Su Tangyu turned, only to see Shen Lingmo kneeling before the marriage tree with Su Yaoyao, performing a folk wedding ceremony. First bow to heaven and earth, second bow to the marriage tree, finally, bow to each other as husband and wife. Su Tangyu watched silently, no tears, no laughter, no outburst. After the ceremony, Shen Lingmo turned and spotted her, as if only just remembering she existed. For once, he left Su Yaoyoro's side and approached her, looking guilty. Tangyu, I know we're betrothed, but Yaoyao wanted to experience a folk wedding. I just wanted to fulfill her wish before she leaves for the marriage alliance. Su Tangyu cut him off. I understand. You want Su Yaoyao to have no regrets, be husband and wife for a day. I get it. Shen Lingmo froze, surprise filling his handsome features. You're not angry? Su Tangyu nodded faintly, tying the wish-making silk scarf she'd brought to a branch. Shen Lingmo stared at her calm face. She didn't seem to be faking it. But once, she'd grown jealous if he so much as spoke to Su Yaoyao. An unfamiliar feeling stirred in his chest. He awkwardly changed the subject. Tangyu, what did you wish for? I already made my wish, she said, finishing the knot. On the first day of her rebirth, she'd prayed before the Buddha. 1. May the marriage alliance go smoothly. 2. May I cut all ties with my family and fiancé, Shen Lingmo. 3. May my fiancé, Shen Lingmo, and Su Yaoyao be together forever, growing old in happiness. After visiting the marriage tree, night fell. Su Tangyu intended to return to the palace, but Su Yaoyao grabbed her arm. Sister, I heard the lighthouse in the West Market is beautiful. Will you come see it with us? Su Tangyu tried to refuse. But Shen Lingmo said, Yaoyoro's rarely in such high spirits, don't spoil her fun. She was dragged to the lighthouse. The wind was fierce that night, and the dozens of feet tall lighthouse swayed dangerously. Lingmo, look how beautiful it is. Su Yaoyao cooed, ignoring the circumstances. Su Tangyu stared at the towering structure, instinctively wanting to step back, but just as she moved, someone shouted, the lighthouse is going to collapse, run. Su Tangyu stepped back on reflex only to be suddenly shoved by Shen Lingmo. Yaoyao, let's go. He didn't spare her a single glance, shielding Su Yaoyao as they fled without looking back. In the next second, there was a deafening crash. The lighthouse came crashing down directly toward Su Tangyu. She couldn't dodge, so she raised her hands to block. Scorching heat rushed over her, and searing, tearing pain spread across her body in an instant. She fainted from the agony. Plunged into darkness, Su Tangyu's memories grew muddled. She felt as if she'd returned to before she was 12. Her grandmother would hold her and say, Tangyu is grandma's most precious little princess, the most noble lady in all of Great Yang. Her eldest brother, the crown prince, would build her swings with his own hands. Tangyu, brother will protect you for the rest of my life, because she'd mentioned wanting to see maple leaves. Shen Lingmo had secretly replanted 10 acres of countryside with maple trees overnight, only to be chased 10 streets by his father, the Marquis of Zhenghua, to win her hand in marriage. He'd gone to war at a young age, conquering 5 cities as his betrothal gift. He'd sworn to her, we grew up together, destined by heaven. I'll never make you suffer. Marry me, you won't regret it. She didn't know how long she'd been unconscious. Su Tangyu woke to the sound of commotion. Through blurred vision, she heard her eldest brother shouting angrily, hurry, fetch the best imperial physicians for Tangyu. She heard her grandmother weeping, save Tangyu at all costs. Su Tangyu felt dazed, thinking she was still dreaming, but the next moment, she heard her grandmother sob, if something happens to Tangyu, Yaoyao will have to substitute for the marriage again. Order the physicians. Tangyu must be cured. Even though she'd resolved not to care about them, those words cut into her heart like a sharp knife. She fainted again. When she woke up once more, dawn had broken. Her body reeked of medicine, and both her arms throbbed with a burning, tearing pain. As she opened her eyes, she saw Su Yaoyao sitting at a table nearby. Surrounded by Shen Lingmo and Su Qian, Su Yaoyao's voice was soft and delicate. "I'm fine. Sister is hurt too. Lingmo, Crown Prince, go take care of her. It's all my fault for insisting on seeing the lighthouse. I hurt sister." Shen Lingmo wiped the sweat from Su Yaoyao's forehead. "Yaoyao, it's not your fault. You were more frightened. Of course we'll take care of you first." Su Qian echoed. "She has maids to look after her. We only need to worry about you." Su Tangyu listened quietly, then suddenly laughed, a laugh that made her nose tingle with sadness. Her laughter alerted Shen Lingmo and the others to her waking. Shen Lingmo was the first to approach, feigning concern. "How are you? Does it still hurt?" Every inch of her body ached, but unlike before, she didn't burst into tears. She simply shook her head. Shen Lingmo didn't seem to care, quickly changing the subject. "While you were unconscious, rumors spread in the capital claiming Yaoyao tried to harm you. She's been heartbroken. Tomorrow is Great Yang's sacrifice day. We'll clear up the rumors then. You'll climb the star-picking tower during the ceremony and tell everyone personally that Yaoyao is kind and pure. Clear her name. Don't let these lies ruin her reputation." His words chilled Su Tangyu to the core, but Shen Lingmo was informing her, not asking. The next day, still injured, Su Tangyu was dressed and escorted to the star-picking tower. The tower had been built specifically for her by her grandmother to pray for her blessings. Later, because Su Yaoyao had mentioned liking it, it had become her exclusive property. Su Tangyu had never been allowed to set foot there again. When she reached the top floor, Su Yaoyao was already waiting, dismissing the maids. Su Yaoyao revealed her true colors. "Su Tangyu, look, your grandmother, brother, and fiancé only care about me now, so what if you're a noble princess? You'll still be married off to Beidi, becoming a woman shared by many. I'll kindly take over your wealth and status. As for you, you've lost your honor, your family, and you'll have to serve a bunch of barbarians. If I were you, I'd have myself long ago." Listening to her vicious words, Su Tangyu didn't feel as sad as she'd expected. "I won't die," she said. No one loved her, but she could love herself. Su Yaoyao sneered at her stubbornness. "We'll see about that." With that, she rolled her eyes and fainted. "Yaoyao, Su Tangyu, what did you do to her this time?" Shen Lingmo suddenly rushed up the wooden stairs, lifting the unconscious Su Yaoyao and rushing down. Close behind, Su Qian raised his hand and slapped Su Tangyu hard. "You never learn. You hurt Yaoyao again. If anything happens to her, you'll pay for it with your life." Su Tangyu touched her swollen cheek, the pain numbing. She didn't bother to defend herself, not even a single word. Her own family had hurt her more cruelly than the barbaric Beidi tribes everyone despised. Su Tangyu counted down the days to her marriage alliance. Only 4 days left. Soon, she'd never have to see these so-called loved ones again. She slowly walked back to the princess's hall, her hand trembling with pain. But after she entered the room, before she had time to apply medicine, Shen Lingmo rushed in anxiously, grabbed her hand and dragged her to the West Hall. "Yaoyao is unconscious and coughing up blood. It's all your fault. The Fangsha said that only by cutting your flesh and letting your blood can she be saved. You will come in with me now to atone for your sins." Su Tangyu was dragged to the West Hall. The palace servants knelt on the ground, Su Yaoyao pale as she lay in bed. Smack! Su Qian rushed forward and delivered another slap. "Su Tangyu, you've harmed Yaoyao time and time again. How could I have such a vicious sister like you?" Su Tangyu turned her head, her face quickly swelling up. Without letting her argue, palace attendants forced her to kneel and used a sharp blade to brutally cut open her flesh. Su Tangyu cried out in pain, her face quickly turning pale, but no one felt sorry for her. After drawing blood, Su Tangyu was forced to kneel outside the hall and transcribe Buddhist scriptures. It was the 12th lunar month, and the wind and snow were biting cold. Su Yaoyao didn't wake up all night. So Su Tangyu transcribed all night. The next morning, as soon as the Buddhist scriptures were taken away, Shen Lingmo, disregarding her pale face, eagerly dragged her into the room. Your flesh and blood really worked. Yaro Yaro is awake. She heard that you bled for her and prayed for her all night. She is very grateful to you and wants to thank you in person. Su Tangyu was in pain all night and exhausted all night. With a deathly pale face, she was dragged to Su Yaoyoro's bedside. Su Yaoyao, on the other hand, had a rosy complexion. Seeing the mentor, she immediately threw off the covers and pretended to get out of bed and kneel down. Sister, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have harmed you by cutting your flesh and drawing blood. I even transcribed scriptures all night. I should have woken up sooner. Before she could finish, Shen Lingmo shook off Su Tangyu and stepped forward to help Su Yaoyaro back onto the bed. You're not well. How can you kneel? Su Tangyu is healthy and can withstand the cold. You don't need to worry about her. Su Yaoyaro leaned into Shen Lingmo's arms. Glancing at Su Tangyu with a smug look, she suddenly said in the Lingnan dialect, Lingmo, don't hold me in front of my sister, she'll get angry. The maid said that you held me all night while I was unconscious last night. Su Tangyu suddenly tightened her hand, but heard Shen Lingmo reply in the same Lingnan dialect, it's okay. If she wants to be a good lady of the Zhenghua Marquis, the first thing she shouldn't do is be jealous. Su Yaoyaro smiled even more brightly. Luckily, my sister doesn't understand the Lingnan dialect, otherwise she would be angry again because of your words. As she spoke, she secretly mocked Su Tangyu. Su Tangyu didn't speak. She really couldn't understand the Lingnan dialect before, but Shen Lingmo's ancestral home is in Lingnan. In her previous life, to integrate into the Shen family, she secretly learned the Lingnan dialect. Then, she heard Su Yaoyaro say even more boldly, Lingmo, then stay with me tonight and want me a few more times. Okay. Su Tangyu stiffened, looking at Shen Lingmo intently. The man's Adam's apple bobbed. Is your body recovered? No matter how many times I want you, it's not enough. I'm just afraid you can't take it. Su Tangyu really couldn't listen anymore and suddenly spoke in the Lingnan dialect. Shen Lingmo, is it fun to have an affair and be immoral? As soon as she said that, the room fell silent. Shen Lingmo stood up in a panic. Tangyu, what are you talking about? You can understand the Southern Ling dialect. His face changed, looking guilty and ashamed. Su Tangyu suddenly felt extremely bored. She lied and said, I heard you say this dialect before and was curious, so I wanted to ask you what it meant. So you don't understand? Shen Lingmo visibly breathed a sigh of relief, then complained with displeasure, don't just say things you don't understand in the future. I was concerned about Yaro Yaro's health, and you interrupted and scared her. When I have time, I'll teach you the Lingnan dialect. You can join our conversations after you've learned it. Su Tangyu suppressed the sarcasm in her heart. No need, I never go to Lingnan, it's useless to learn. If she were to learn, it should be the Northern Di dialect. Shen Lingmo didn't force it. He carefully tucked the quilt corner for Su Yaoyaro, then looked at Su Tangyu again. Yaoyaro brewed some tonic herbs this morning. Have a bowl too. You worked hard last night. Su Tangyu didn't care about his concern at all. If there's nothing else, I'm going back to my room to rest. If she drank Su Yaoyoro's medicine, she would probably be poisoned to death. She didn't appreciate it, and Shen Lingmo's face turned cold again. What tantrum are you throwing now? Are you deliberately putting on a pale and pitiful appearance just to get our attention? What are you being difficult about now? So, she was in pain all night and knelt all night, and in Shen Lingmo's eyes, it was just a show of pity. Su Tangyu laughed self-deprecatingly. Don't worry, you don't have to care about me anymore. She will no longer have any expectations of them. From now on, she will only rely on herself. Su Tangyu braced herself and returned to the bedroom. Shen Lingmo sent someone to deliver the wound medicine again. She fainted without even being touched. After a night of groggy sleep, Shen Lingmo sent someone to drag her to the hunting grounds again. saying that Su Yarou was going to be married off in 2 days and wanted to go hunting one last time before leaving. When Su Tangyu arrived at the hunting grounds, she saw Shen Lingmo and Su Qian on either side of Su Yarou, coaxing her as she slowly mounted a docile horse. Yarou, don't be afraid. I and the Crown Prince will protect you. Yes, Yarou, don't worry, even if you fall, Crown Prince brother will catch you. Their meticulous and gentle appearance made Su Tangyu feel a momentary daze. In childhood, she was also surrounded by the two of them, and they taught her how to ride a horse hand in hand. But now, those warm memories have long been blurred. Su Tangyu looked away, trying not to dwell on it. But Su Yarou clearly wasn't going to let her off the hook, and said with a charming smile, Lingmo, Crown Prince, aren't you going to have a hunting competition? You should go ahead. And let my sister keep me company. I'm sure she'll take good care of me. As soon as she finished speaking, Shen Lingmo glanced at Su Tangyu. Since Yarou wants you to be with her, then take good care of her. No one cared about Su Tangyu's opinion. At Su Yarou's request, the two of them rode away on horseback side by side. As soon as they were out of sight of the two men, Su Yarou's face changed. Su Tangyu, don't think that just because Lingmo gave you wound medicine, he feels sorry for you. Do you believe that he would not hesitate to take your life for me? Su Tangyu's heart skipped a beat, and then she saw Su Yarou holding an embroidery needle and stabbing it fiercely into her horse's head. Nay, the horse neighed in pain, and Su Tangyu was tossed about, almost losing her grip on the reins. Before she could react, Su Yarou rolled off her horse, exclaiming, Lingmo, Crown Prince brother, help! Su Tangyu's heart skipped a beat, a bad feeling washing over her. In the next moment, 2 arrows, one after the other, mercilessly shot towards her and the horse's vital points. Phut! The sharp arrow pierced flesh and skin. Su Tangyu fell from the horse, crashing heavily onto the ground. Before her consciousness sank into darkness, she saw Shen Lingmo and Su Qian throw down their longbows, rushing headlong towards Su Yarou. Yarou, are you all right? Were you frightened? Yarou, you scared me to death. What would your brother do if something happened to you? Su Tangyu was abandoned once again. They were supposed to be family and lovers, yet they were the most heartless towards her. After an unknown amount of time, Su Tangyu woke up again. Unexpectedly, Shen Lingmo was watching over her bedside. Seeing her wake up, he immediately leaned over to support her. How do you feel? You've been unconscious for a day, and Yarou is going to be married off to a foreign land tomorrow morning. I'm sorry, Yarou can't handle being frightened. I was afraid she would be startled by the horse, so I shot you with an arrow in a moment of desperation. Yarou is going to be married off, and nothing can go wrong. Her health is the most important thing. You can understand me, right? You've suffered this time. The Empress Dowager has also scheduled our wedding for tomorrow. After we get married tomorrow, I will make it up to you, okay? Su Tangyu looked at him quietly, then suddenly smiled weakly. Shen Lingmo, there is no future for us. Shen Lingmo didn't hear clearly and asked, what did you say? Su Tangyu shook her head, nothing. Tomorrow, he will marry Su Yarou. She went to get married for peace. After everything was settled, neither family nor love could hold her back anymore. She was certain that she would have a new life in this lifetime. Shen Lingmo left quickly, and until the morning of the marriage for peace, no one came to see Su Tangyu again. Dawn, Su Tangyu put on her makeup in the faint morning light, changed into her wedding dress alone, and walked out of the palace gate. When passing the West Palace, she caught sight of the Empress Dowager and Su Qian beside Su Yarou, one personally combing her hair, the other personally helping her dress. A picture of happiness. Su Tangyu didn't stop, continuing to walk outwards, and then met Shen Lingmo in the corridor. Dressed in festive attire, his eyes were smiling, handsome and unparalleled. Seeing her, he was stunned and asked in confusion, Tangyu, it's not the auspicious hour yet. Why didn't you wait for the crown prince to escort you? Or are you eager to become my bride? Su Tangyu hid the sarcasm in her eyes and shook her head. Today, no one will escort me in marriage. I can only walk to the bridal sedan myself. Shenling Mo didn't understand her meaning at all, and even smoothed her hair. Comforting. You've been wronged. The Empress Dowager and the Crown Prince are also heartbroken that Yaro Yaro has to go for a political marriage, unable to bear her marrying alone, so they couldn't take care of you. He held her hand and promised, Tangyu, after the wedding, I will request to go to the frontier to fight against the Northern DI, at most 3 years, and I will bring Yaro Yaro back. From then on, the 3 of us will be together, living a good life. Su Tangyu gazed at Shenlingmo for a long time, without answering. Tangyu, thinking she was distracted, Shenlingmo nudged her. All right, you go back and wait in the room for the auspicious hour. I still have to go to the West Hall to check on Yaro Yaro. With that, he hurried away. Su Tangyu watched his figure disappear before withdrawing her gaze. On this day in her past life, she used every means to marry him, fully believing he would be her lifelong companion. But she never expected that he would constantly long for Su Yaro Yaro, giving her nothing but humiliation and resentment, and after the news of Su Yaroiro's death, he even made her pay with her life. Su Tangyu took a deep breath and turned to walk towards the palace gate. In this life, she had no choice either, but she would live well and not rely on anyone. Today is New Year's Eve, and the palace gate was decorated with lanterns early. The bright and dazzling lights illuminated the 2 bridal sedan chairs parked side by side inside the palace walls, one on the left and one on the right. Su Tangyu walked straight towards the bridal sedan, but was stopped by palace servants who questioned her. Princess, aren't you going to wait for the Empress Dowager and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince to bid them farewell? Su Tangyu paused. When marriage was discussed, the royal grandmother said she would send her off for 10 miles. And Su Qian had promised to personally carry her to the bridal sedan, just like a commoner's wedding, giving her utmost honor and dignity. But now, they are probably all with Su Yaro Yaro and have no time to pay attention to her. Su Tangyu shook off her memories and smiled faintly. No need to say goodbye. Let's just set off. As soon as she finished speaking, there was a sudden commotion behind her. Turning her head, she saw Su Yaro Yaro on the Crown Prince's back, while the Empress Dowager, wearing heavy, gorgeous clothes, followed step by step with tears in her eyes. Yaro Yaro, don't be afraid, royal grandmother will always be with you. Yaro Yaro, no matter who you marry, Crown Prince brother will always be your support. They swaggered all the way and finally arrived at Su Tangyu's side. Stopping in front of 2 bridal sedans, Su Yaro Yaro stood on the red silk, her eyes sparkling, and bid farewell one by one. Royal grandmother, Crown Prince brother, don't worry. I will definitely be happy. After finishing her bow and standing up, Su Yaro Yaro walked towards Su Tangyu, leaned close to her ear, and gloated in a voice only the 2 of them could hear. I heard that the barbarians of the Northern DI like father and son sharing a wife, and to boost morale, they even send their wives to the military camp for others to enjoy. I hope elder sister can endure this hardship and live a few more years. From now on, I'll enjoy your blessings for you. Her triumphant tone was full of malice, but Su Tangyu pretended not to hear it. She is the dignified legitimate princess of Great Yang, never a useless good-for-nothing. In the past, she was hurt only because she cared about family and love. Now she cares about no one, she only cares about herself. Neither Great Yang nor Northern DI can hurt her. Su Tangyu turned and stepped onto the bridal sedan, instructing the palace servants to set off, but she heard Shenlingmo's urgent cry, Tangyu. She turned her head and saw Shenlingmo stride to the side of the carriage, speaking to her gently. Tangyu, I need to see Yaro Yaro off first. I'll come back as soon as possible. You go to the Shun Manor first. A shadow fell over Su Tangyu's eyes. In her past life, Shenlingmo also saw Su Yaro Yaro off. When the auspicious hour for the wedding arrived, he never showed up, and she had to complete the wedding ceremony alone, enduring endless ridicule. But now that he has fulfilled his wish of marrying Su Yarou in this life, he probably won't break the contract again. She smiled and said, "In the future, you can do whatever you want without having to worry about me. Anyway, after the bridal sedan sets off, they will never see each other again." Seeing the smile in her eyes and her completely indifferent look, a strange feeling arose in Shen Lingmo's heart. It was as if Su Tangyu would leave him forever with this turn. But how could that be? Su Tangyu had her clothes torn in public, her reputation ruined, and she refused to marry a foreign prince. Who else could she marry but him? She could only wait for him to marry her. Dispelling the panic in his heart, Shen Lingmo gazed at her, saying each word clearly, "I promise this is the last time we'll be apart. Be good and wait for me to come back and marry you." Su Tangyu nodded. "Yes, the last time we'll be apart. I wish us a happy wedding, without her interference. He and Su Yarou will surely have a smooth wedding. From now on, we'll marry separately and have nothing to do with each other ever again." Shen Lingmo wanted to say something, but Su Yarou's voice came from the bridal sedan next to him. "Lingmo, where are you?" He immediately responded, "I'm here, Yarou. I've always been by your side." He turned his head and hurriedly told Su Tangyu to be careful on the road, then rushed towards Su Yarou's bridal sedan. Watching his back, Su Tangyu smiled. A relaxed and relieved smile, and whispered, "Shen Lingmo, I wish you and Su Yarou eternal love and grow old together." And it was time for her to fulfill her mission. The bridal sedan set off, drums and gongs sounded. The bridal sedan circled the capital 3 times, a lively spectacle. The people lined the streets to watch the excitement, discussing the grandeur of the princess's wedding, filled with envy and excitement. In the end, one bridal sedan headed towards the Zhenghua Marquis estate, and the other towards the barren lands of the northern Di. From this year on, never to meet again. Night fell. Zhenghua Marquis estate. Shen Lingmo was forced to drink round after round before he could enter the bridal chamber. He was even held back by the crown prince Su Qian at the door, who kept rambling on. "Shen Lingmo, I'm marrying my most beloved Yarou to you. If you ever break her heart, don't blame me for punishing you." Shen Lingmo rubbed his throbbing head and retorted in confusion, "Your Highness, are you confused? The one I'm marrying is Tangyu, not Yarou." Su Qian froze, guiltily releasing him. "Go in. Don't keep my sister waiting too long." Shen Lingmo was pushed through the door, staggering slightly. For some reason, a sense of unease suddenly surged in his heart, and he subconsciously hurried closer to the bedside, gazing at the bride sitting upright. Shen Lingmo finally breathed a sigh of relief, asking with tenderness in his eyes, "Tangyu, we are finally married. Are you happy?" But the bride sat still, without moving or speaking. Shen Lingmo leaned down, raised his hand closer, and chuckled. "Why are you ignoring me? Are you jealous because I went to see Yarou this morning? I promised you before that after the official wedding ceremony, my wife will only be you." At the same time, Shen Lingmo lifted the veil. Under the bright red wedding tent, the bride's full face was revealed, adorned with rouge and powder, truly a face like a lotus and eyebrows like willows. The flickering red candle cast a bright yellow light, unsettling Su Yarou's thoughts. Even though she heard Shen Lingmo still believed he was marrying Su Tangyu, she wasn't worried. Her hand subconsciously grabbed at the scattering of items on the wedding bed, revealing a determined smile. Her heart was filled with joy and shy tenderness. She thought, finally, she and Shen Lingmo were married, kowtowed, and became husband and wife. Future happiness and glory were within easy reach. However, just as her smile bloomed, she heard Shen Lingmo's astonished question from above. "Why is it you? Where's Tangyu?" At this moment, the unease in Shen Lingmo's heart reached its peak. So much so that he didn't dare to think about where Su Tangyu was at this moment. Could it be that she went to the northern Di for marriage? Su Yarrow looked up, meeting the man's gaze, which held a hint of panic amidst the surprise. She smiled, reached out and wrapped her arms around Shun Lingmore's neck, and said charmingly, "Brother Lingmore, today is our wedding day. I have finally married you as I wished. Are you happy? Let's consummate our marriage now." Before she could finish, her arm was shoved aside by Shun Lingmore. For the first time, Shun Lingmore's attitude towards her was cold. "Explain clearly what's going on. How could you marry me? Then who will go for the peace marriage?" Su Yarrow's smile stiffened. She didn't expect that at this moment. The person Shun Lingmore was most concerned about was still Su Tangyu. Even though she had stolen all the affection everyone had for Su Tangyu, even Shun Lingmore, in their intimate moments, had said that he already considered her his wife. Yet, she still stubbornly refused to let Su Tangyu go for the marriage alliance herself. Su Yarrow felt unwilling in her heart. Looking at the tall and handsome man in front of her, she had experienced the feeling of being held in the palm of his hand. How could she return him to Su Tangyu? A determined glint flashed in Su Yarrow's eyes as she reached out her soft, boneless hand to grasp Shun Lingmore's. Her slender fingers playfully twirled in his palm, Su Yarrow's eyes sparkling. "Brother Lingmore, are you really willing to let me go for the peace marriage?" Shun Lingmore's eyes darkened, his large palm capturing the mischievous hand, his attitude becoming much gentler. He said softly, "Stop fooling around, I can't bear it. But there's nothing I can do, don't worry, I'll come to pick you up soon. The guards and maids I've prepared for you will protect you well. Besides, to ensure your safety in the northern Di for 3 years, we have prepared special guards and imperial physicians who will only recognize you as their master. Tangyu has nothing. If she goes, her chances of survival are slim. It's more suitable for you to go." Su Yarrow's smile was fading. She asked with aggrieved eyes, "Lingmore Gidge, do you still like Tangyu Jie more?" Shun Lingmore stroked her hair. "Good girl. Tangyu will still be your older sister in the future, and will take care of you with me." After speaking, he wanted to send Su Yarrow away. Maybe this was just a joke Su Yarrow made because she couldn't bear to leave him. It doesn't matter. The marriage procession shouldn't be too far away yet. He will just bring Su Tangyu back. No sooner had I lifted my foot to leave than I heard a knock at the door. I opened the door to find Su Qian standing there. Seeing Su Yarrow's face covered in tears, he gave her a comforting look, his heart aching for her. He pulled Shun Lingmore aside to explain. Yarrow said she wanted to enter the Shun family's gate before the marriage alliance. How could I not fulfill this wish of hers? It's all because I couldn't bear to disappoint Yarrow that I made this decision. Don't blame her, don't worry. The marriage alliance has been postponed by a day, and Tangyu is still in the palace. You can go see Tangyu tomorrow. Tonight is the wedding night. Don't let Yarrow down." Hearing that Su Tangyu was still in the palace, Shun Lingmo breathed a sigh of relief, and was about to enter the palace to see Su Tangyu. Su Yarrow caught a glimpse of his expression and immediately, Chanja means to pester or cling to someone, him, begging, "Brother Lingmo, we've already performed the wedding ceremony. Why don't we consummate our marriage first? This is my last wish. Brother Lingmo, haven't we already exchanged hearts? You also said that if there wasn't a marriage contract, you would definitely marry me. These days, I've been dreaming of marrying you. Anyway, I'm already yours. Don't you want me to become your wife in a proper and dignified manner?" Su Yarrow's eyes reddened, and she held on to Shun Lingmore's hand tightly, refusing to let go. "We only have this one night after the wedding. Let's not miss it, okay?" Seeing Su Yarrow with tears in her eyes like pear blossoms, Shun Lingmore hesitated. Seeing this, Su Qian deliberately said, "All right, don't you know Yarrow's feelings for you? You should keep her company tonight. As for Tangyu, I'll return to the palace to take care of her. When you and Yarrow return to the palace tomorrow, you'll be able to see Tangyu. She won't be lost." Without waiting for Shun Lingmore to refuse again, She turned and left, even closing the door for them and locking it. Hearing the movement outside, Su Yaro's face filled with joy. Her eyes were full of tears, and she gently and softly hugged Shen Lingmo from behind, whispering, "Brother Lingmo, don't think about anyone else, just tonight. Can we just focus on our wedding night? I want to have your child." The night passed, and the next day, Su Yaro and Shen Lingmo officially became a newly married couple, returning to the palace to offer tea to the Empress Dowager. The Empress Dowager was overjoyed and personally helped Su Yaro up, showering her with concern. Shen Lingmo's heart stirred at the sight. Perhaps because his mind was occupied all night, he didn't sleep a wink. That night, for the first time ever, his mind was completely filled with thoughts of Su Tangyu, wondering if she would be sad when she found out about his marriage to Su Yaro, wondering how she was spending the night, wondering when he would see her again. Although Su Qian promised that Su Tangyu was still in the palace, he still felt uneasy. Before he truly marries Su Tangyu, he always had a faint illusion that he would lose her, but he can't lose her. After the tea ceremony, Shen Lingmo held Su Yaro's hands and whispered, "Yaro, it's getting late. I'll escort you to the city gate of the capital. You should leave for the marriage soon." His marriage with Tang Yu could no longer be delayed. Moreover, marrying Yaro first yesterday would cause Tang Yu to lose face and become a laughingstock in the capital. He had long promised that once Tang Yu married him, she would no longer be wronged. There must be no further delay today. Hearing this, a flicker of darkness flashed in Su Yaro's eyes. Today, the Empress Dowager, to express her congratulations, invited many noble ladies from the capital to congratulate her on her newlywed bliss. Now, in front of so many people, she wouldn't let the guests make a fool of her. Seeing Shen Lingmo's gaze occasionally turning towards the door, as if searching for Su Tangyu's figure, her legs went weak, her eyes rolled back, and she fainted. Yaro, what's wrong? Quickly, summon the imperial physician." The entire palace was instantly thrown into chaos. Shen Lingmo didn't care about anything else, scooped her up in his arms, and went into the inner chamber. Su Yaro was unconscious for an entire day. During that time, everyone stayed by her side, and no one cared about the wedding anymore, nor did anyone have the mind to care about the guests. It was still Shen who couldn't wait for the new bride to offer tea at the mansion. After inquiring, he learned that Su Yaro had fainted again, and his son was with her and hadn't returned, so he sent someone to find Shen Lingmo, young master. The Marquis said that the new bride can manage the household after entering the manor, and the Marquis manor will be handed over to the princess from now on. Shen Lingmo paused, then remembered what day it was today. Tang Yu hasn't entered the manor yet, and I forgot to tell her that the wedding has been postponed again. How is she now? I'll go see her. Since Yaro can't set off for the marriage alliance immediately, his wedding with Tang Yu has been delayed. In the end, he is the one who has let her down. Shen Lingmo was filled with guilt and headed straight for Su Tangyu's palace without waiting for the servants to answer. When he passed the East Palace, he accidentally overheard Su Qian talking to his subordinate. Su Qian's tone was calm and composed. "Tell Yaro that I have ordered the convoy to travel at top speed and delay for 10 days, so he will never be able to catch up." The subordinate obeyed, but hesitated. "But Your Highness, the Crown Prince, news has just arrived from the Northern Di Royal Court that their old king is seriously ill and the government is in chaos. It is not a good choice to marry the princess over there now. Aren't you worried?" Su Qian raised his eyebrows in surprise, but still said dismissively, "I also prepared plenty of guards and money for her, and even instructed the frontier generals to take care of her. If something still happened, then it was her fate." Shen Lingmo's footsteps suddenly stopped. The noise was so loud that it alarmed Su Qian. He turned his head and met Shen Lingmo's angry gaze. "In the past, I saw that you were the most fond of Yaro, and you couldn't bear for her to suffer at all. now that you clearly know something has happened in the northern Di, how can you still ignore her entering a den of wolves and tigers? With a surge of fury, Shen Lingmo stormed off, while Su Qian breathed a sigh of relief. He had thought Shen Lingmo knew that the one being offered for marriage was Su Tangyu. Having witnessed Shen Lingmo's past obsession and doting affection for Tangyu, Su Qian feared he would recklessly chase after her. Su Qian thought that since Yarrow Yarrow entered the palace, Tangyu had become increasingly outrageous. As a princess, she had repeatedly resorted to underhanded methods to harm Yarrow Yarrow. It was because they had indulged her too much that she wouldn't restrain herself without experiencing some hardship. This marriage alliance could not be disrupted, so he said, "What are you rushing for? Yarrow Yarrow is in no condition to be married off now." Shen Lingmo was about to say something when Su Yarrow Yarrow's voice came from behind him. "Lingmo, older brother Crown Prince, what's wrong?" The two turned their heads and saw Su Yarrow Yarrow coming in a delicate manner, her face pale. Su Qian and Shen Lingmo immediately lost their mood to argue and helped her, asking gently, "Why did you come out? The imperial physician told you to rest well." Su Yarrow Yarrow heard the servant say that Shen Lingmo had left in a hurry, so she chased after him. She looked at the expressions of the two and said, "You are worried about the marriage alliance, aren't you? I'm sorry, my health is holding back Great Yang. Although Sister Tangyu poisoned me and ruined my health, I shouldn't have been so afraid that I wouldn't be able to survive in the northern Di and complain to you about not wanting to marry in her place. If Sister Tangyu were here right now, I would definitely tell her that I am willing to marry in her place. It is what I should do." Hearing this, Su Qian and Shen Lingmo were heartbroken. Su Qian was even more determined to make Su Tangyu suffer, while Shen Lingmo, as Su Yarrow Yarrow wished, became dissatisfied with Su Tangyu. He picked up Su Yarrow Yarrow, his hot chest warming her cold body, and carried her back to the inner room. "This is not your fault. It is the princess's responsibility to make peace through marriage. Tangyu is ignorant and jealous of the attention you receive from us, which is why she has caused you to suffer. Focus on recovering and don't overthink things." That night, Shen Lingmo did not return to his own courtyard and stopped paying attention to Su Tangyu. Regardless, she will eventually enter his Shen family, and they will have plenty of time to get along in the future. Right now, being with Su Yarrow Yarrow is the most important thing. For the next 5 days, Su Yarrow's condition fluctuated, and Shen Lingmo stayed in the West Palace to take care of her, with Su Qian also remaining by her side at all times. That morning, a civet cat from who knows where entered the palace and meowed several times, waking Shen Lingmo. A heavy snow fell on New Year's Day. But no one in the palace was in the mood to celebrate the festival because of Su Yarrow's illness. The palace servants were momentarily negligent and failed to keep an eye on the civet cats, allowing their calls to add a touch of liveliness to the silent palace. Shen Lingmo looked at the civet cat, which was looking around, and suddenly remembered that Su Tangyu also loved civet cats. Once, the imperial palace housed many cats, all of which were Su Tangyu's beloved pets. However, after Su Yarrow Yarrow entered the palace and finally shed her timidity, her first request was that she disliked cats and asked if they could all be sent out of the palace. The Empress Dowager agreed to Su Yarrow's request and had all the cats driven out that very night, and he, seeing Su Tangyu's reddened eyes, impulsively kept a few to raise in the Marquis's residence, and even included them as part of the betrothal gifts, wanting to give her a surprise. He wondered if Su Tangyu had seen them, and if she would like them, thinking. Shen Lingmo unconsciously arrived outside Su Tangyu's palace. Seeing the palace servant sweeping, he asked, "Is Princess Tangyu awake?" The servant was stunned by Shen Lingmo's question. "Your Highness, Princess Tangyu is no longer in the palace. Are you mistaken?" Shen Lingmo frowned, pointing to several exquisite wooden birds in the courtyard, and the ornate and bright palace lantern on the courtyard wall. "Even the things in Tangyu's palace haven't changed." And you're telling me she's not here? He remembered this exquisite palace lantern. He had made it himself and given it to Tang Yu on her 10th birthday banquet. This lantern took him more than half a year to make, and he suffered countless cuts on his hands. Tang Yu held his hand, heartbroken, and forbade him from ever making another one. But he said at the time, "You have beautiful clothes and delicious food, and have seen countless treasures. But none of them can compare to the sentiment I put into giving this to you. I will always put my heart into everything I do for you." He and Tang Yu are a couple who will never be separated. The palace servants followed his gaze towards the palace lantern and suddenly realized, "Your Highness." This was moved back on New Year's Eve. "I heard that Princess Tang Yu returned it to the Marquis's mansion half a month ago, when Princess Yao Yao saw it. She liked it very much and asked the servants of the Marquis's mansion to move it back on New Year's Eve." Shen Lingmore was stunned, then remembered that he had indeed received a report half a month ago saying that Su Tang Yu had sent many things to the Marquis's mansion. At that time, he thought that she was eager to marry him and had sent the things in advance. He felt superior and somewhat condescending, so he casually asked someone to put them away to avoid her making a fuss. Su Yao Yao liked it when she saw it, and he casually agreed to give it to her. But now, seeing these things displayed in Su Tang Yu's palace, he felt a faint unease in his heart, especially after entering the palace and searching every room without finding Su Tang Yu. This unease deepened. Shen Lingmo strode towards the East Palace, wanting to see the Crown Prince Su Qian and ask what was going on. "I had just arrived at the East Palace when I heard a commotion." It was Su Qian and Su Yao Yao laughing and playing again. Full of joy, Shen Lingmo strode in, suddenly grabbed Su Qian and went outside, and immediately questioned him, "Where is Tang Yu?" Su Qian's expression froze. "Why are you suddenly asking about Tang Yu? Shouldn't you be more concerned about Yaoyoro's illness now?" Before he could finish, Shen Lingmo interrupted, "I'm asking about Tang Yu." There was a tremor in his voice. He swallowed hard, staring intently at Su Qian as he asked, "Is Tang Yu still in the palace?" Remembering the signs on New Year's Eve, he vaguely had an answer he didn't dare to delve into. He wanted reassurance that Su Tang Yu was still safe and sound in the palace, still waiting for him to marry her. On New Year's Eve, he and Su Yao Yao were married. Could it be that after Su Tang Yu heard about it, she hid away in a fit of anger, refusing to show herself until she received his apology? It must be so. Su Tang Yu has such a fiery temperament. Unable to tolerate even a grain of sand in her eyes, after a long silence, Su Qian said with difficulty, "Yes, she is in the palace." Joy exploded in Shen Lingmo's eyes, and he couldn't wait to say, "Then I'll go find her now. I'll search every gate in the palace to find her." He finished speaking and turned to leave, but was stopped by Su Qian. The two looked at each other, and Shen Lingmo's face gradually became unsightly. His eyes were stained with scarlet due to the violent fluctuations of his emotions, a prelude to near madness. Su Qian's brow twitched, and he pulled Shen Lingmo closer, saying, "Don't be angry. Didn't you volunteer to fight the Northern DI? In at most 2 or 3 years, we can bring her back. Right now, we should be most concerned about Yao Yao." As he spoke, Su Qian forcefully dragged Shen Lingmo to Su Yao Yao's eastern palace, hoping that Su Yao Yao could comfort him. But just as they reached the doorway, they heard Su Yao Yao speaking to someone, her voice very low. "Why did you only find a chance to reply now? I asked you, did the people you sent to kill Su Tang Yu succeed?" Upon hearing this, both of them paused, unable to believe what they had just heard. The one who answered Su Yao Yao was a shrill voice. "Princess, the people have been sent out, but we haven't received a reply yet. Why so slow? If Su Tang Yu doesn't die, how can I completely win Lingmo Gij's heart?" Hearing these words, Shen Lingmo and Su Qian could no longer restrain themselves. The door was kicked open suddenly. Su Yao Yao was leaning against the head of the bed talking to an unfamiliar little eunuch. and was so frightened that she trembled. Seeing the two men enter with fury, a hint of panic flashed in Su Yaro's eyes, but she quickly composed herself. Lingmo, Crown Prince, why are you here? Su Qian's face was gloomy. You just said you were going to send someone to harm Tang Yu. Su Yaro's eyes reddened. Crown Prince, what are you saying? How could I harm my sister? I was just reading a storybook with the palace servants. Mentioning my sister's name was just because I was jealous that Ling Mo loved my sister more deeply than he loved me, so I couldn't help but indulge in some trash talk. Brothers, look, I'm just a helpless orphan in the palace with no one to rely on. How could I possibly order anyone to help me? Beside Su Yaro's hand, there was indeed a storybook. That little eunuch wasn't particularly capable, not even managing to become a minor seal keeper in the vast palace. Su Qian and Shen Lingmo were doubtful. Seeing this, Su Yaro clutched her heart, her face paling again. Lingmo, Crown Prince, if you don't believe me, go and investigate. Which of my personal palace servants, or those I've met, would help me? Her appearance reminded the two of them of the scene when she first entered the palace, a trembling little girl standing under the gazes of everyone, not even knowing who to turn to for help. The two couldn't help but soften their hearts. It's not that we don't believe you, don't overthink it. Your nature wouldn't allow you to do such a thing. We all know that. Seeing the two of them return to their previous expressions, concerned for her once more, Su Yaro lowered her eyes. A hint of smugness flashing quickly across them. After coaxing Su Yaro to sleep, Shen Lingmo and Su Qian left the room one after the other. As soon as they left, Su Yaro immediately opened her eyes and beckoned the little eunuch, who had not left, to come closer. This time, she didn't speak but wrote a few words in the palm of his hand. If you can't kill her, pretend she's dead. The eunuch nodded slightly, opened the door and went out, openly asking a servant of the Marquis's residence to take him back to the Empress Dowager. Looking very honest. Outside, the two walked side by side along the corridor for a few steps. Shen Lingmo suddenly said, my request to go on the expedition has been approved. Su Qian was silent for a long time before humming in agreement. Counting Su Tangyu, the three of them had grown up together since childhood, and Shen Lingmo and Su Qian had a deep understanding of each other. They realized at the same time that when they both became aware that Su Tangyu might be associated with the word death, their hearts were filled with unease. Now, they just wanted to see her alive and well immediately, and only then would they feel at ease. Shen Lingmo was even more upset. He originally thought that Tang Yu would not dare to marry. When the Northern Di first proposed marriage, he was entrusted with the important task by the Empress Dowager to inquire about the news of the Northern Di, and he knew these barbarians very well. Barbarians only recognize the strong and do not understand civilization, treating women like servants and prostitutes. He told Tang Yu all of this in detail, scaring her into having nightmares for several nights, and she cried and asked him if he could marry her sooner. But why? Is she now going to marry without a word? Doubt lingered in his mind. But Shen Lingmo vaguely had an answer. Tang Yu probably knew about him and Su Yaro. She loved him so much that she couldn't stand infidelity. Once she knew about him and Su Yaro, it was not impossible for her to give up and marry out of spite. Su Qian listened to his conjecture and remained silent for a long while. Finally, he said, Tang Yu has a rash temperament. It's good to temper her. Upon hearing this, Shen Lingmo suddenly raised his head, glaring at Su Qian. After a moment, he took a step back and knelt heavily on the ground, hoarsely saying, your subordinate vows here that within 3 years, I will definitely bring Princess Tang Yu back to Great Yang. Otherwise, I'd rather have my head severed on the northern frontier. Su Qian looked at his resolute expression, sighed, and nodded. All right. Bring Tang Yu back safely. She has suffered enough to know how to cherish everything we give her. Meanwhile, on the way to the marriage alliance. It was the end of the year, and towns and post stations along the way were decorated with lanterns and colors, and everyone had smiles on their faces. Su Tangyu watched with sorrow and relief, relieved for the peace of the people, and sorrowful that she might never see her homeland again. Not dwelling on her emotions for too long, after smiling, she summoned the accompanying officials and generals in turn. Regardless of their rank, she asked their names and specialties one by one. Preparing for her plans in the northern DI, to her surprise, among the entourage were a military officer and a palace maid who treated her with extraordinary respect and obedience. My family used to be officials in the capital. 10 years ago, they were wrongly implicated in the corruption case of the Minister of Justice and sentenced to imprisonment and execution. It was the princess at that time who read the memorial, pointed out the flaws, and saved my family. When Su Tangyu asked about the details, the military general Lu Jiao answered resolutely. Beside him, the palace maid Baizhu also nodded in agreement, clearly part of the family rescued together back then. Their entire family was saved, and their lifelong wish was to repay Su Tangyu. Upon hearing that she had resolutely agreed to the peace marriage, they willingly followed. We have no way to repay the princess's great kindness, except with the word loyalty. Using our lives to protect the princess's safety, they said in unison. After the surprise, Su Tangyu breathed a sigh of relief. Although she knew the situation of the northern DI very well in the past few years, if she wanted to gain a firm foothold and live freely, she must have capable people around her. Otherwise she would not be able to support herself alone. With the loyalty of these two people, she would at least have some confidants. The further north, the heavier the wind and snow, and the more difficult the road became. The marriage procession took a full month and a half to finally reach the northern DI royal court. At this time, the royal court was already preparing for the funeral of the terminally ill old king. Although he was not dead yet, he could no longer move. The old king's 3 princes had already begun to fight for power, resulting in chaotic infighting. With Su Tangyu's arrival, she also became an object of contention. The envoy sent by the first prince was condescending, addressing Su Tangyu as princess repeatedly, but his eyes leered at her lewdly, like a hungry wolf eyeing meat, and he laughed loudly. Princess, rest for now. Once our first prince finishes his official business, he'll come and take care of you. Ha ha ha. The general, Lu Jiao, was so enraged that he almost drew his sword, but Su Tangyu stopped him. The second prince's men behind them were not so presumptuous. Simply offering a slight bow and reassuring her, Princess, please rest well. No matter the outcome within 6 months, you are still the princess consort. Wait patiently. Su Tangyu nodded slightly, said nothing, and looked towards the third prince. The third prince came in person, admiring Su Tangyu for a long while with amazement, before grinning and saying, Princess, rest assured, since Northern DI is seeking to marry you, they won't let you suffer, if anything happens. You can come to me. The 3 sides had different attitudes, but they were all determined to have Su Tangyu, because whoever married the princess for peace would represent him as the new king of Northern DI, inheriting the property of the former king and being able to command the entire Northern DI. And Su Tangyu was nominally marrying the old king, but at this time she could only let them fight for her, even if Northern DI split up and the 3 princes fought each other. Her best outcome would be to become a shared wife of the 3, imprisoned in the central royal tent like an object. After the Beidi people left, Su Tangyu was silent for a long time. Baizhu couldn't help but ask, Princess, what do you want to do? Be the first to turn to the third prince. Su Tangyu came back to her senses, shook her head and smiled. No, I want to see the old Wang Gong now. In the evening, inside the camp, Su Tangyu met the old Wang Gong as the future Wang Fei, on the bed. The nearly 60-year-old man looked withered, a foul medicinal odor filling the air, making one want to cover their nose. Su Tangyu, however, remained calm, gazing at the bed. This time, the northern Di plague. This princess can cure it. Upon hearing this, the old Wang Gong abruptly sat up, his withered face bearing a pair of eyes that sharply stared at Su Tangyu. What did you say? Su Tangyu smiled, calmly repeating her words, and asked, King of the Northern Di, do you want to live? Our Khan has actually recovered. Today he was even able to walk out of the royal tent and accept the allegiance of the major and minor chieftains. And that's not all. I heard that the Khan publicly honored the great Yang princess, gave her many servants, allowed her to live freely in the royal city, and could even choose who to marry. What an honor that is. I wonder how beautiful the great Yang princess is to have bewitched the Khan so much. Don't talk nonsense. I heard that this princess brought the divine medicine of great Yang, which can cure the epidemic here. What? Are you serious? Is there hope for our epidemic? The boisterous northern Di people never knew what it meant to speak softly, and the noise reverberated from tent to tent, disturbing one's peace of mind. Su Tangyu was used to it, standing quietly in front of the desk, listening to the excitement outside caused by the treatment of the epidemic in her previous life. When Su Yaoyao was married to the northern Di, Shen Lingmo always tried his best to inquire about news of the northern Di, and also received letters from people around Su Yaoyao. She also came to know a lot of news about the northern Di, including this epidemic, in her previous life. The northern Di ultimately went to war with Great Yang, firstly because the epidemic was truly out of control. After the old king died, the three princes contracted the disease one after another, and the northern Di could only invade southward to plunder medicinal herbs and expend lives. Secondly, Su Yaoyao clearly brought imperial physicians and medicinal herbs, but refused to let them help treat the illness, and was tragically killed after being discovered by someone with ulterior motives, completely breaking the relationship between the northern Di and Great Yang. Reborn. The first thing Su Tangyu needs to do is solve the epidemic and delay the death of the northern Di Khan. Once the northern Di is in chaos internally, no one will be able to subdue everyone, and they will inevitably go south to harm Great Yang while seizing power. She won't allow it. Now that the Khan is recovered, she can also do the second thing. Su Tangyu's gaze turned to another person in the camp, the second prince of the northern Di. This prince was tall and handsome, but his eyebrows contained a hint of gentleness. When he held a book, he looked more like a scholar from the Great Yang. It is said that he loved sinology the most. The second prince noticed her gaze and smiled. You actually have so many books on Chinese studies here. Do you also read? Su Tangyu said calmly. Of course I read, and I know more than you do, but I heard that Han women don't read and don't have much knowledge. The second prince had some Han Chinese scholars around him and had heard a lot about the customs of Great Yang, so he wasn't very interested in Su Tangyu at first. He only spares a second glance for those around him who are learned and versed in Chinese studies. Su Tangyu didn't argue when she heard this. She said, it's not that Han women don't study, it's just that the common people you see can't afford to study. The common people are poor, and neither men nor women can afford to study. Everyone I brought with me can read. The Khan allows me to educate the northern Di people, and you will know it by then, since it was a marriage alliance. Su Tangyu was biased when selecting people to accompany her, preferring those who were literate, as they would be more sensible and handle affairs more smoothly, to civilize the Bedi people and make them identify with Han culture. Perhaps when the time is ripe, we can take control of the Han Chinese cities occupied under the rule of the Bedi, and then we can recover the Bedi without war. These were Su Tangyu's plans. The second prince didn't know what she was thinking. Thinking of the people around her, he was somewhat convinced. Maybe you are right, and I am short-sighted. My father asked me to help you spread sinology. If you need anything, just come to me directly. With the second prince's promise, Su Tangyu became much more truly free. She stayed in northern Di with peace of mind, having her subordinates educate the people, and unknowingly her reputation became more and more resounding. But only 2 years of peaceful days had passed when Su Tangyu was summoned alone by the Khan. His face grew more gaunt, but the Khan, nearing death after recovering from his illness, had a sharp gaze. He threw her a battle report. Great Yang has broken the treaty and sent troops to attack us. Princess of Great Yang, what do you have to say about this? Great Yang has broken the treaty and sent troops straight for the northern Di, led by none other than Shenlingmo. He should have come long ago. But before his departure, news of Su Tangyu's death reached the capital. He received the news suddenly, vomited blood, and fell off his horse unconscious. In just 2 years, news of Su Tangyu's death had been spread throughout Great Yang by those with ulterior motives, and Shenlingmo had been ill for 2 whole years. During that time, he kept having a recurring nightmare. You're saying you dreamed of that scene of Tangyu's tragic death? Su Qian stared at Shenlingmo in disbelief, wanting to rebuke him for cursing Tangyu, but he moved his mouth and couldn't say anything. In the end, he only took 2 steps back, averting his eyes. Tangyu won't die. She took so many people with her when she left. If something really happened to her, it's impossible that none of them would have returned. Shenlingmo stared straight ahead, his mind seemingly still echoing the scene from his dream. Su Tangyu was in front of him, her face pale, vomiting blood, her eyes fixed on him, constantly asking him why he killed her, why he gave her the poisoned wine Qianji, torturing her to death. The pain in his chest was almost suffocating. It was clearly Tangyu's pain in the dream, but he seemed to feel it as if it were his own, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Tangyu must be in so much pain. She's so delicate and willful. She can't bear hardship. They're the ones hurting Tangyu. Shenlingmo's gaze shifted from heartache and dullness to a crazed, bloodthirsty look, staring in the direction of the northern frontier as if he wanted to devour someone. He didn't know why he was having such a dream. He could only attribute it to Tangyu crying out for help, telling him of her pain. Therefore, before the expedition, his sword pointed directly at the northern Di. I will bring Tangyu back, even if it's just her bones. I won't let her stay in the northern Di. The army rushed all the way, reaching the border at the fastest speed, without any rest. Shenlingmo took over the authority of guarding the town that very day and led his troops straight to the territory of the northern Di nomadic people, not attacking cities, but only burning camps. The northern Di were grassland tribes, with herders driving cattle and sheep to live by water and grass, often making it difficult to find their tracks. Shenlingmo, however, disregarded everything and led people to conquer the grasslands every day, killing anyone he saw, only feeling that he was avenging Tangyu. His violent appearance also made the border soldiers and civilians fearful, and no one dared to approach him. The nomadic tribes of the northern Di also fled at the mere sight of them. That early morning, Shenlingmo decapitated a small northern Di tribe leader with a single strike, suppressing the impatience in his heart. The provisions and troops still aren't fully assembled. Reporting to the general, the borderlands are barren, and the imperial court's provisions won't arrive for another month. It's really not advisable to start a war now, the general replied tremulously, and in the next moment, his hand was pierced by a sharp blade. Shenling's eyebrows were fierce. Then find every possible way to gather them. I want to attack the city within half a month and slaughter all the northern Di. Yes, yes. The soldiers and generals around him scattered in a hubbub, leaving Shenling alone. He looked up at the distant sky and murmured, Tangyu, wait for me. Unbeknownst to him, the Su Tangyu he was longing for was on horseback, watching him from atop a high hillside. By her side, Lu Jiao stood guard, armored and armed, a silent protector. The second prince rode on the other side, his gaze occasionally, unintentionally, falling upon her, and next to them stood the tall, muscular, ruggedly handsome, and wildly untamed first prince. Seeing Su Tangyu staring into the distance in a daze, The first prince tapped the horse's head with his riding crop and asked with a sense of oppression, "Princess of Great Yang, didn't you say you had a way to make Great Yang retreat?" Before Su Tangyu could answer, he sneered. "I heard you had a marriage agreement with that general of Great Yang. Don't tell me you're planning to kneel before his horse and beg him to go back." The first prince's face was full of mockery towards Su Tangyu. "Princess of Great Yang, let me tell you, talking about feelings with men is bullshit. He watched you marry into our kingdom without saying a word. Do you still expect him to listen to you? If you're really afraid of father coming after you, why not marry third brother early and let him protect you?" The first prince himself looked down on Su Tangyu, and he also knew that the second prince didn't like Han women, so he pushed her to the third prince, a win-win for everyone. Before Su Tangyu could speak, Lu Jiao, who was beside her, couldn't bear it any longer. "If you continue to order the princess around, I will kill you." The first prince glared. "Come on, this prince will behead you first." Seeing that a fight was about to break out, the second prince timely intervened. "I think Her Highness the princess already has an idea. Brother, say less." It took a good while for the tension to dissipate. Only then did Su Tangyu answer the first prince's earlier question. "Just wait and see." Leaving this sentence behind, she turned her horse around and summoned the guards she had brought for the marriage alliance. Great Yang needs peace. This general attacked the northern Di without rhyme or reason, threatening the peace of the people. "We must persuade him to withdraw his troops." Su Tangyu spoke loudly with high-sounding words, and under the cover of the guards' unanimous agreement, she stuffed a note into one of their hands. It read, "The time is right. Seize power." Since curing the plague in the northern Di, she hadn't been under much surveillance in the royal city. In addition, the northern Di didn't care much about the occupied cities, allowing the Great Yang people to govern themselves, which made it easier for her to do many things. At least in the cities that originally belonged to Great Yang, she found many insightful people who were planning to return to Great Yang. The northern Di occupied the cities of Great Yang and sought many surrendered generals to manage them, which was very troublesome. This time, she boasted in front of the old Khan and promised to let the people of Great Yang fight against the people of Great Yang, without costing the northern Di a single soldier, which was a perfect opportunity to wipe out these capitulationists in one fell swoop. After the guard retreated, only Lu Jiao and the palace-made Bijou were left in the camp. Lu Jiao was still preoccupied with what the first prince had said earlier. "Princess, why do you have to put up with the first prince? The old Khan is dying soon. The imperial physician has taken his pulse and said he only has a month left. Why don't we directly support the second prince to take the throne? At that time, with the second prince listening to your every word, we can openly control the northern Di." Su Tangyu smiled upon hearing this. "No, the second prince doesn't listen to my every word. He values his tribe more. It would be a problem to leave him in charge. I would just become his mascot queen." 2 years ago when she came, the northern Di could not be in chaos, because she had no foundation in the northern Di, no soldiers or horses under her command, and no backing behind her. She could not influence anything during the internal strife of these barbarians, and could only let them descend into chaos and kill each other to produce a king. But now, she has already gained a firm foothold in the northern Di. Times have changed, Lu Jiao. I can't have an absolute authoritative king suppressing me now. Without the old Khan's failing eyesight, he'll notice the movements in the occupied Great Yang cities, and I'll be the one in danger. Once the old Khan passes away and the three princes fight for power, I, who have already integrated here, can find an opportunity to take control of the original cities of Great Yang. If Great Yang were to behave and not engage in war with the northern Di at this time, she was confident that within 20 years she could gather the strength of the Great Yang cities, completely disintegrate and annihilate the northern Di, and even drive them far away from the borders of Great Yang. Unfortunately, why did Shen Lingmo tear up the peace treaty and insist on pointing his sword at the Northern Di? It was she who was being offered in marriage, not Su Yaoyao. What reason does he have to attack the Northern Di? Only Shen Lingmo can answer this question. So, 5 days later, Shen Lingmo saw the living Su Tangyu. With a loud clang, a weapon fell to the ground. Shen Lingmo stared blankly at Su Tangyu, his gaze fixed on her as if trying to bore a hole through her. Tangyu, Shen Lingmo received news today and led a team deep into the grasslands to encircle and suppress a small northern Di tribe, who knew that just as they arrived and the order to fight was given, an arrow came straight towards his face. He raised his hand to block it, and with a backhand motion, he wanted to throw his spear, but he met Su Tengyu's calm eyes, greatly shocked. He fell off his horse with the forward tilt, and his weapon also fell to the ground, even though the barbarian chieftain in front of him was still brandishing his knife and hacking at him. He was frozen, his eyes unblinking, afraid that if he looked away for even a moment, he would find that the person in front of him was an illusion. Tangyu, Shen Lingmo moved his lips, trembling as he asked, Tangyu, you're still alive, aren't you? I'm not hallucinating, you're really alive, aren't you? He had almost gone mad because of that recurring nightmare. He hadn't dared to close his eyes for days and nights, afraid of seeing Su Tangyu's tragic death again. How heart-wrenching it was. But now, he was no longer afraid. Su Tangyu was not dead. She was perfectly fine, watching him with cold eyes. He desperately wanted to touch her, to feel her living heartbeat, and he rushed recklessly in front of her horse. Even though someone's spear was pointing at him, he merely blocked it with his arm. Just like that, as if he felt no pain, he ran to the front of Su Tengyu's horse. Su Tangyu looked at him acting recklessly, as if he cared about her very much, and only frowned. What are you doing? After asking this, her anger rose even higher. Why are you disregarding the peace treaty and forcibly attacking the Northern Di, to plunge the people of Great Yang into the suffering of war? In that case, what is the point of my marriage alliance? A series of questions, however, did not make Shen Lingmo's mind clear. He hugged her legs and murmured, We thought you were dead, Tangyu. We all thought you were dead. No one knew the sudden emptiness he felt in his heart the moment he learned of Su Tangyu's death. As early as the moment Tangyu and he had pledged their lives to each other, he had sworn that he would live and die with her in this life, and if there was danger, only he would die before her, and never let her face the wind and rain alone. But Tangyu had silently married the Northern Di and died inexplicably. He couldn't accept it at all. Over the past 2 years, his chest had been filled with raging violence, and his mind had descended into madness. At this moment, anyone would understand that Tangyu was his life. Shen Lingmo poured out his heart, but Su Tangyu didn't have the patience to listen, kicking him away with her foot. I'm asking you a question. Why attack the Northern Di? When she was angry, her face was cold. But her eyes were bright, making Shen Lingmo feel a daze for a moment. He then remembered that it seemed like a long time since he had seen her angry, especially before the marriage alliance. Originally, seeing them revolving around Su Yaoyao, she would always glare at him, telling him not to ignore her, but at some point, she became indifferent, as if she no longer cared about him. Shen Lingmo sobered up a bit, but a sense of panic welled up in his heart. Tangyu, come back to Da Yang with me. 2 years ago, I didn't know that the person being sent for the peace marriage was you. If I had known, I would never have let you come. You are the little princess of our Great Yang, cherished in our palms. How could you suffer like this? He spoke earnestly, as if he truly felt that way from the bottom of his heart. Su Tangyu sneered upon hearing this. I didn't suffer in Northern Di. Was the hardship in the cold of Northern Di even more than the suffering she endured in the Great Yang Palace? In his past life, Shen Lingmo couldn't wait to tie her up and send her to the grasslands to marry in place of Su Yaoyao. Why put on this hypocritical act now? She said coldly. Whatever you want to do, go back quickly, withdraw your troops. Su Yaoyao and your child are still waiting for you. Upon hearing this, Shen Lingmo froze. Shen Lingmo's face turned deathly pale, and only now could one discern that the hair at his temples had begun to turn white. It's evident how much of a blow these past 2 years have been to his mind and spirit. Hearing Su Tangyu mention Su Yaoyao, he subconsciously retorted, "No, Tangyu, Yaoyao is not pregnant with my child, and I have nothing to do with Yaoyao. I only treat her as a sister, and I only took care of her a little because she was too pitiful." He wanted to add that he initially took care of Su Yaoyao only to help her make up for her mistake of jealousy and secretly harming Su Yaoyao. But he saw the indifference in Su Tangyu's eyes. She watched him lie with an all-knowing gaze. Shen Lingmo realized with dismay that she actually knew everything. Because she knew everything, she resolutely agreed to the marriage alliance, stayed away from him, and generously gave him to Su Yaoyao. A woman's magnanimity only comes from a lack of love. Shen Lingmo tasted a fishy sweetness in his throat. "Tangyu, I'm sorry." He knelt on the ground, not wanting Su Tangyu to see the blood at the corner of his mouth, and sincerely admitted his mistake. "Believe me, Su Yaoyao and I were just temporarily infatuated and crossed the line for a moment. I really don't love her. I swear, I will never see Su Yaoyao again, and I will never have a relationship with her. It doesn't matter if you don't want to go back to the capital. After I wipe out the northern DI, we will stay at the border, away from the disputes, and be together forever, okay?" Wipe out the northern DI. Su Tangyu didn't hear what he said after that. Only one key point. After all that, he still refuses to withdraw his troops. "Do you want me to die that much?" Su Tangyu's words stunned Shen Lingmo. "What?" Su Tangyu's eyes turned cold. "I thought I had retreated to the edge of the cliff, but I didn't expect you still want me dead." Suddenly raising troops to come to her, seemingly to admit their mistakes to her, seemingly still having feelings for her, is actually just wanting to put her to death, right? After her marriage, Great Yang took the initiative to start a war. Wasn't that just wanting her to die? She doesn't have an army like Su Yaoyao had in her previous life. Nor does she have the 3 years of day and night planning of the Crown Prince and Shen Lingmo. If a war were to break out now, and she was still the same as she was 2 years ago, she would probably have been beheaded by the old Khan in public as a sacrifice to the flag. If he wanted to harm her, then she would have to strike first. She made up her mind, and before Shen Lingmo could react, she drew her long sword from her horse and stabbed it into Shen Lingmo's chest with her own hands. She encountered no resistance. She was stunned. Shen Lingmo looked at her in sudden disbelief. After a moment of eye contact, the general beside Shen Lingmo suddenly shouted, "Protect the general." The sounds of war rise again. The great Yang soldiers protected Shen Lingmo, quickly retreating back to the border city. Su Tangyu did not stop them, but instead ordered the soldiers beside her to halt their horses and watch them leave. Several great Yang generals breathed a sigh of relief, and their hidden guard against Su Tangyu lessened considerably. Suddenly, the thunderous sound of horses' hooves rang out, and leading the charge was none other than the first prince. He led a troop of cavalry straight towards the injured Shen Lingmo, laughing loudly as he charged. "Since the great Yang's main general is injured, then leave your life behind. All soldiers, listen to my order. Whoever kills that Shen Lingmo today and helps me seize the great Yang's border city tomorrow, I will definitely bestow upon him a title of nobility after I become emperor." Upon hearing this, the barbarian men behind the first prince became excited, yelling and screaming as they charged towards the great Yang army. Whoosh! A sharp arrow shot over, carrying great force as it pierced towards the great prince's head, bringing with it a spray of blood. The great prince felt intense pain on his face, his eyes blurred by blood, plunging him into darkness. Amidst the anxious concern of his subordinate generals, He suppressed the heart palpitations caused by the injury, and looked towards Su Tangyu with his clear eye. The woman he thought was weak and harmless was pointing a bow and arrow at him, her voice cold. "First Prince, everything I do is to protect the people of Great Yang, not to join the Northern DI. You want to kill the generals of Great Yang, I'll take your life first." Shen Lingmo was brought back to the border town by the Great Yang general. After being stabbed by Su Tangyu, he fell into a coma. After returning to the city, he was taken into the room for emergency treatment. The generals were left outside. After exchanging glances, they couldn't help but start discussing. "Princess Tangyu is actually not dead. Doesn't our initiative to attack the Northern DI this time harm the princess? I had a feeling that the princess might not be dead. The news came from the capital, but we saw the princess leave the country safely, and the Northern DI didn't send any news. What's the point of your hindsight now? Everyone knows the princess isn't dead. She even personally stabbed our general, Shen. That was out of desperation. General Shen refused to retreat. The princess must have been forced by those barbarian northerners to get us to leave. The princess even broke off relations with the eldest prince. I don't know if she'll be in danger. Alas, I knew we should have led the army out of the city just now and brought the princess back. Don't mention it. We only got back because the princess protected us, and General Shen, too, was unwilling to let the princess marry far away. Why didn't he find a substitute bride back then? Now that she's already married, he comes chasing after her. That's right. The princess only has those few hundred people with her, which isn't enough to guarantee her safety. Isn't this endangering the princess? Su Tangyu, who the generals were worried about, had returned to her camp. The first prince was seriously wounded by the arrow and was also rushed back by his men to find a doctor amidst the commotion outside. A moment later, the second prince came to see Su Tangyu. Seeing Su Tangyu sitting safely in her tent, the anxious expression on the second prince's face eased. While carefully examining Su Tangyu for any injuries, he asked, "How did you provoke the first prince?" Su Tangyu hung up the cleaned bow and arrow, sat back at her desk to read, and replied upon hearing this, "I've broken up with him." The second prince felt a little helpless. "Princess, why did you provoke the eldest brother? He has a proud and rough personality, and he doesn't care about character when employing people, only who can win for him. He has all sorts of people around him. If you peacefully educate the people, no one will touch you. But if the eldest brother gets angry, you will have endless troubles. Those people will even dare to sneak into your camp." Seeing his genuine concern, Su Tangyu couldn't help but smile. "Although we're not married yet, I am still a princess, so I'll be fine." Upon hearing this, the second prince frowned even more. "You still want to marry the great king's brother. He dislikes weak women the most, and he doesn't care for beauty. So he won't marry you." Huh. Su Tangyu was puzzled. When did she ever say she wanted to marry the great king's brother? Watching the second prince spout a bunch of bad things about the great king's brother, Su Tangyu became thoughtful. Following this line of thought, she asked, "Then who would be willing to marry me?" Third prince. The second prince immediately shook his head nervously. "Third brother does like beautiful women and has said he would be very willing to marry you. But he has so many beauties around him that you probably wouldn't be noticed." Su Tangyu didn't think that a princess sent for a political marriage needed to consider her position in her future husband's heart, but she seemed to see something and continued to ask, "Then, you," the second prince's pale skin, cultivated from a love of reading rather than fighting, flushed slightly, his handsome appearance enough to make the heart of every girl who saw him race. His gaze, however, was not awkward. As he said frankly, "Marry me, and everything I have will be yours from now on." Su Tangyu was taken aback by his straightforwardness, and paused for a moment. Just then, the old Khan urgently sent someone to invite her to the royal tent. Su Tangyu's heart skipped a beat. Thinking the old Khan king couldn't hold on any longer, She ignored the second prince and rushed over immediately. Seeing the Khan King sitting safely in the high seat, she breathed a sigh of relief. Then she heard him ask, "Princess of Great Yang, my eldest son wants to marry you. What do you think?" Su Tangyu returned to her camp after staying with the old Khan King for a quarter of an hour. Bai Zhu, who accompanied her, was a little distraught. "Princess, what should we do now? Are you really going to marry?" Judging by the old Khan's attitude, he wants to completely tie Su Tangyu to the northern Di before he dies, and once the marriage partner is decided, the marriage must take place immediately. Although when Su Tangyu first arrived in the northern Di, she planned to take root here and exchange years of management for peace in the Great Yang. But now, the Great Yang has assembled a large army and will not easily retreat. If Su Tangyu is tied to the northern Di again, there will always be more danger. Marry who? Inside the tent. The second prince was still waiting there. Hearing S' question, he asked in confusion. S' expression tightened, realizing she had slipped up, and stopped speaking. On the other hand, said very straightforwardly, "The Khan said that the first prince is willing to marry me, and we will be married in 10 days. As soon as he said that, the second prince's face turned pale. He exchanged a glance with Su Tangyu for a moment, and after confirming that she was telling the truth, he hurriedly turned around. "I'll go ask father and the eldest brother. Don't be afraid, I won't let you be wronged." Judging by his appearance, he thought Su Tangyu was being forced and went to seek justice for her. She didn't stop him, only watched him walk away before retracting her gaze. "Jade, did the imperial physicians say that the old Khan's life can only last up to 10 days? Jade lowered her eyes and respectfully replied, "Yes, princess, 2 years ago. The little eunuch we caught who was disloyal to you also passed the message to the old Khan, and he knows your every move." Su Tangyu nodded. "The old Khan wants the eldest prince to succeed to the throne, so he first wants me to marry him, and then expel the second and third princes from the royal city to establish the northern Di regime. The tribes behind the second prince and third prince won't accept this. A great chaos is inevitable. We can take this opportunity to stir up unrest in the great Yang cities occupied by the northern Di, directly raise our flag and recruit soldiers, and lead these cities back to Great Yang in one fell swoop." As Su Tangyu finished speaking, Bai Zhu nodded immediately. "Princess, this servant will find an opportunity to send the message back to the border city of Great Yang, so that the subordinates there can be prepared." Great Yang border city. Apart from the subordinates who kept in contact with Su Tangyu, the remaining Great Yang generals gathered once again, facing each other in silence. They only received a simple message: Princess Tangyu and the great prince of the northern Di are about to be married. These few generals were under Shen Lingmo, directly taking orders from Shen Lingmo. How dare they tell Shen Lingmo this news? After all, Su Tangyu had personally stabbed Shen Lingmo that day, and the general was still in a coma. Only when he had a high fever and was seriously ill would he call out Su Tangyu's name repeatedly. The group discussed for days, but couldn't come up with a solution. When Shen Lingmo woke up, they had no choice but to honestly tell him, word for word, the news that Su Tangyu was about to get married. "What did you say?" Shen Lingmo's face was pale. Perhaps due to his worsening mental state, he had been unconscious for days, yet the area under his eyes was still dark and his cheeks were gaunt, making him look utterly disheveled. Without waiting for the generals to reply, he suddenly pulled out his long sword from beside the couch and rushed towards the door. "I can't let the barbarians humiliate her. I'm going to bring Tangyu back." The generals panicked at his crazed and reckless behavior, and they rushed out to stop him. However, before the words of advice could leave their mouths, a crisp and joyful voice suddenly came from the courtyard entrance. "Lingmo Gij." It was Su Yaoyao who had come. Su Yaoyao arrived with 3 months' worth of provisions for the Dian army. She couldn't wait for Dian to initiate the war, so that the little eunuch she sent could instigate the old Khan to directly kill Su Tangyu. A flash of ruthlessness flickered in her eyes, but when facing Shen Lingmore, she was still gentle and weak. Brother Lingmore, aren't we going to attack the northern DI? We have strong soldiers and horses. We can definitely wipe out the northern DI within 3 months. Su Yaoyao threw herself into Shen Lingmore's arms, not caring that he was holding a long sword, because she was already sure that Shen Lingmore would not hurt her. Shen Lingmore did pause, having just climbed out of bed. His body was still very weak, and he had just rushed out the door with a surge of emotion. Stumbled by Su Yaoyoro's sudden embrace, he faltered, with a dizzy spell. The agonizing image of Su Tangyu poisoned by wine resurfaced in Shen Lingmore's mind. His heart ached, and he pushed Su Yaoyao away, asking, "What are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be in the capital with the Empress Dowager?" Caught off guard by the push, Su Yaoyao felt wronged and said, "I want to be with you always." Looking delicate and tearful, she wept, "Brother Lingmore, I know you still think about Sister Tangyu, but I'm more worried about your health." "Don't worry. Even though my body was ruined by my sister back then, I'll take care of myself to stay with you." Shen Lingmore heard Su Yaoyoro's voice behind him indistinctly. Only the accusation that Su Tangyu had harmed her echoed in his mind. Su Yaoyao said that Su Tangyu harmed her. He seemed to have heard it many times. But only this time did a crazy thought surge into his mind. No, no one harmed Su Yaoyao, it's all fake. But before he could deny the statement, his consciousness slipped into darkness. In a daze, he had a dream of his past life. He dreamt of the day Su Tangyu died tragically, the day he personally forced her to drink the poisoned wine. Chenji, after forcing the wine down, he didn't look at Su Tangyu again, turning to leave the dilapidated room, pulling a letter from his bosom. That was a blood letter from Su Yaoyao. "Brother Ling Mo, I don't know what I did wrong. I clearly followed Su Tangyu's wishes and married the northern DI, but she still wants to kill me. Maybe it's because Sister Tangyu is too jealous that I have your love, so I and our child cannot escape death. I don't hate her, Brother Ling Mo, at least she loves you." A suicide note, just a few sheets of paper, stained with tears, every word filled with blood and tears, so he believed the words in the letter. Believing that Su Tangyu was relentless towards Su Yaoyao, who had married for peace, and in a fit of rage, he personally poisoned her with wine. After finishing the letter, he calmed down when he came back to his senses. It was then that he thought in anguish, why can't Tangyu and Yaoyao coexist? When he saw Su Tangyu's cold body, his heart felt like a piece was missing, and a fine, sharp pain covered his whole body, making it almost impossible for him to breathe. He attacked the northern DI with a frenzied disregard for death. And after 3 years, he finally brought Su Yaoyao's remains back to Great Yang. On the day Su Yaoyao was buried in the imperial city of Great Yang, he also drank a bowl of poisoned wine, as atonement for personally killing Su Tangyu, also, as atonement for himself, who had once promised to protect Su Tangyu but failed to do so. But Shen Lingmore didn't expect that as he drank the poisoned wine and waited for death, Crown Prince Su Qian suddenly came to his door, grabbing him madly and saying, "It wasn't Tangyu who did it, everything was orchestrated by Su Yaoyao herself, she wasn't pregnant with your child either, and that letter was to make you hate Tangyu. Where is Tangyu? Quickly release Tangyu." When Shen Lingmore woke up, he couldn't distinguish between reality and dreams, past and present. He only remembered that at the last moment, Su Qian presented him with the evidence of Su Yaoyoro's self-direction and performance, but he couldn't say a word. Because he couldn't hand over another Su Tangyu to Su Qian, she was sent to the Yellow Springs by his own hand. Remembering that final scene from his past life, Shen Lingmore opened his mouth and let out a hoarse, painful roar. "Ah!" He reached out, one hand clutching his abdomen with force, the other pinching his neck. As suffocation and pain washed over him, It was as if he was experiencing the pain Su Tangyu felt before her death, in his previous life. Shen Lingmore heard the servants say that she was in pain for a long time, cried for a long time, and blood flowed all over the ground, poisonous wine and, tearing apart intestines and stomach, the carelessness of that time, the heart-wrenching pain of now. Tears streamed from the corners of Shen Lingmore's eyes. Unable to tell whether the pain in his body or in his heart was greater. "Lingmore Gidge, are you awake?" Suddenly, a surprised cry came from the doorway, and Su Yaoiro's face came into view. She saw him being so cruel to himself and was stunned for a moment. "Lingmo, what are you doing?" Su Yaoiro's face pulled Shen Lingmore back to reality at once. He stared at Su Yaoyao, and the strength in his hand gradually loosened. Only now did he finally awaken from a 2-year-long nightmare. Remembering what he had done before, Su Yaoyao felt her scalp tingle under his gaze, her eyes darting away. After a moment, she took a wrung-out cold towel and tried to wipe the sweat from his forehead. Her voice softened as she said, "Lingmo Gidge, you've been unconscious for 10 days. Are you still in pain? I'll go find the imperial physician." Before she could finish speaking, Shen Lingmore suddenly grabbed her neck. The man's eyes were fierce. "You want to kill Tangyu, don't you? How dare you hurt Tangyu?" He suddenly went crazy, and Su Yaoyao was stunned, but soon cried and said, I really didn't, Brother Lingmore. Are you too sad because my sister is going to marry the barbarians? But this is my sister's own choice. She just wants to live a better life." Hearing the word marriage, Shen Lingmore seemed to be burned and suddenly let go. "That's right. Tangyu is still in the hands of those barbarians. I'm going to save Tangyu." He ignored Su Yaoyao, who was sitting on the ground, recovering from her near-death experience, and got up to dress, put on his armor, and take his weapons. Meanwhile, in Su Tangyu's tent, 2 years ago, Su Tangyu came to the Northern Di with all the items for her wedding. In the 2 years since, she has used most of them to improve the livelihood of the frontier people. Now, the tent is full of the great prince's private property, gold, silver, jewelry, and rare antiques, making Su Tangyu even more glamorous than she was 2 years ago. While Bijou was helping Su Tangyu with her hair and makeup, she sighed softly, "Princess, the great prince is considerate of you, specifically instructing that Han customs be followed, that the wedding ceremony be held at the city gate of Great Yang, and he even forced all the Northern Di generals to learn Han etiquette, ordering everyone to treat you with respect. He has also sent all his personal property here. He is very sincere. If you were to marry him peacefully, perhaps you could live a stable life." Su Tangyu smiled and only said, "The people of Great Yang are more important." Bijou's eyes showed admiration and pride, and she said nothing more. The dawn gradually brightened, and the sky was faintly lit. The once bustling royal tent was now silent, everyone holding their breath and concentrating. Su Tangyu's bridal sedan arrived from the royal tent to the occupied city of the Great Yang. After landing, all the Northern Di generals followed the Han Chinese etiquette, bowing awkwardly and stiffly, showing her great respect. Beside her, the people sent by the great prince to protect her were also cautious and careful, not daring to raise their heads, walking all the way into the main hall on the city wall. The first prince, dressed in festive attire, stared at her with bright eyes, about to speak. Suddenly, a soldier's voice came from outside the tent. "Khan, first prince, the army of Great Yang is attacking the city." The air fell silent, like a suppressed volcano. All eyes fell on Su Tangyu. The sharpness and coldness seemed to oppress her to death. Su Tangyu's expression remained unchanged, and as she was about to speak, the first prince suddenly took her hand. The palm of a man who practiced martial arts all year round was scorching hot, and although it was a force that could kill a person with one punch, it was now incomparably gentle. The first prince, who possessed a heroic face, blushed slightly as he carefully held her hand, but he laughed heartily, saying, "As you expected." The great Yang people have really come to attack the city. You must have already arranged defensive forces, right? The heavy atmosphere dissipated as she spoke. Su Tangyu also smiled and said, I've been prepared for this for a long time. I won't let any accidents happen during my wedding. Hearing this, the great prince was overjoyed. To this day, he still can't figure out why the hand he now holds in his own was able to shoot the arrow that wounded him, not at all delicate, but rather full of heroic spirit. However, it was also that arrow that left a scar on the great prince's face, and a scar in his heart, hard to forget. Since he has taken a liking to her, his nature won't allow him to delay, and he immediately wants to marry her and bring her by his side. That's why he was a step ahead of his second younger brother. Thinking of this, the eldest prince's lips curled up. The one outside is that general who was engaged to you, right? He sent you to the Northern DI. And now he wants you back. Too late. Don't worry about anyone now. Let's get married first. After the wedding, I'll help you take care of him. Su Tangyu nodded. Then let's get married first. She didn't even glance at the door, following the eldest prince into the inner, leading the person to the old Khan. The eldest prince glanced at the master of ceremonies. The master of ceremonies understood and shouted loudly, "The bride and groom bow to heaven and earth." As the words fell, someone seemed to be shouting loudly in the distance. No, the two of them didn't delay at all, holding hands to worship the heavens and the earth, and then bowed to each other as husband and wife. When all the ceremonies were completed, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. The first prince was overjoyed. Unable to restrain himself from hugging Su Tangyu and shouting, "Wife, now you are my princess," he excitedly hugged Su Tangyu and spun her around several times, laughing loudly. "Let's go. Let's behead the great Yang general who harassed you and offer his head to the flag." When the broad chest embraced her, Su Tangyu was really stunned for a moment. Seeing such a straightforward way of speaking, she found it novel. The customs of the Northern DI and Great Yang are really completely different. But she quickly calmed down and followed the great prince to the city wall. Her eyes met Shen Lingmore's gaze. He hadn't seen her for a few days, and Shen Lingmore looked even more haggard. The once high-spirited and handsome General Shen now had a dark look in his eyes and was covered in wounds. Su Tangyu didn't know that the first prince deliberately held a banquet on the city wall and had the ceremonial officer loudly announce the wedding ceremony, which shocked Shen Lingmore so much that he vomited blood. She just frowned and said, "The Dayan army is fierce, and I'm afraid they will be able to break through the city soon." As the main general, Shen Lingmore attacked the city almost with bloodshot eyes and without fear of death. With high morale, victory came naturally. Hearing this, the eldest prince said nonchalantly, "I brought soldiers with me. I'll meet him then." Su Tangyu then fell silent. The border cities of Great Yang were originally towering into the clouds, precisely to resist the invasion of the Northern DI. However, since Anbei City was occupied by the Northern DI people, the city walls were destroyed and trampled by cavalry, leaving it with little defensive capability. Especially, the generals and soldiers defending the city were the same Yang people as the army attacking the city, making this battle truly tragic. Her gaze swept over the Anbei City's energetic generals. Seeing them exert all their strength to shout "kill the enemy" under the Northern DI people's gaze, their eyes devoid of compatriots, devoid of righteousness, only focused on their own lives, she couldn't help but turn cold. These people are doomed to die today. The shouts of killing continued, but behind them, the Northern DI people shouted, "It's bad, it's bad. Something has happened to the Khan. The old Khan's death is imminent this month." But no one knew as clearly as Su Tangyu that this day would come so quickly. The moment the news of the Khan's accident spread across the city wall, Su Tangyu had already retreated, distancing herself from the great prince beside her, and taking the bow and arrow handed over by Bai Zhu. Under the great prince's bewildered gaze, she drew her bow and nocked an arrow. At the same time, The sound of weapons clashing and the horrified shouts of the northern DI generals came from the city wall. Great Yang people, what are you doing? Beneath the city wall, the Anbei city general, who had been diligently killing his compatriots for the northern DI, suddenly paused, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Behind them, their loyal subordinates stabbed them in the back, a grim smile on their faces. You enjoyed killing the Dian people, didn't you, you damned beasts who surrendered to the northern DI? Their eyes widened, and before they could say a word, they breathed their last. The Dian soldiers who were fighting alongside them, at least half of them, stopped in their tracks, unsure of what had just happened. Half of the people had already been instructed, and they shouted loudly, rushing forward without hesitation to besiege and kill the northern DI soldiers. The internal strife of the Great Yang people instantly turned into a battlefield between Great Yang and the northern DI. On the city wall, the first prince was genuinely stunned for a moment. Seeing his subordinate generals being injured and having their legs broken in the surprise attack, his heart tightened. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw someone else brandishing a knife and slashing at him, and he immediately drew the sword of the guard beside him to block it. He knew this must be Su Tongyue's doing, and wanted to look back at her, but was met head-on by an arrow. Su Tongyue's arrow cut across his left cheek, leaving a bloody mark. She wanted to shoot again, but suddenly paused. Just now, she actually thought that the first prince was crying, but she had no time to explore. The first prince was a fierce general, and the Great Yang guards on the city wall couldn't hold him down. She was just about to quickly mobilize the Great Yang army when her body was suddenly hugged. Tangyu, in a short time. Shen Lingmo had actually rushed to the city wall and to Su Tangyu's side. The redness in his eyes receded the moment he saw her turn her head. He subconsciously straightened his clothes as he did when they first met, and carefully called out her name, Tangyu. After calling out, he stood there dumbfounded, not knowing what to say. Su Tangyu, however, threw him a steel saber. Stop talking nonsense. Go capture the great prince. Shen Lingmo caught the blade, feeling the pain in his body and heart lessen. So her marriage was just to make the great prince and the northern DI people lower their guard. She didn't really want to marry. He nodded emphatically and turned to join the battle to besiege the great prince. After all, Shen Lingmo had been on the battlefield since he was young, and he was highly skilled in martial arts, so he quickly captured the great prince with the others. Eldest prince, I apologize, Su Tangyu said politely, waving her hand to have the hogtight eldest prince taken away. Unexpectedly, the eldest prince kicked away the guards, striding up to Su Tangyu with a face full of anger. Twice. The eldest prince enunciated with exceptional force, You actually shot arrows at me twice. The first time, I thought you were no threat, so I was unprepared. The second time, I treated you like my wife, even more unprepared. But you hurt me both times, Su Tangyu. The Northern DI people believe that partners will never betray each other for life. But you actually betrayed me. Su Tangyu's eyes flickered, but before she could speak, Shen Lingmo blocked her. His knife was on the great prince's neck. Don't even think about hurting Tangyu. The first prince stared at Su Tangyu stubbornly, unwilling to yield. Su Tangyu looked away and finally apologized. There is no such custom in Great Yang. She had been betrayed too many times, and she was used to these things. For the sake of the people of Great Yang, she would not hesitate. Besides, she won't kill the eldest prince. Before being, the eldest prince asked Su Tangyu, were the second and third princes deceived by you? After father met with an accident, the 100,000 troops of the Northern DI have not responded at all. Su Tangyu did not hide it. The Khan is dead, and you have been captured. No one can command the 100,000 troops in the future. Speaking of which, Su Tangyu also felt very lucky. The tribe behind the second prince is greedy for money, making it easy to bribe them. However, The tribe behind the third prince desires the land of Great Yang even more. She expended a great deal of effort to temporarily silence the people behind the third prince. The northern Di people value power more, with the people saying that they wished Su Yaoyao a lifetime of happiness and that she would enjoy the blessings in place of their princess. At that time, Lu Jiao was so angry that he almost beat the commoner. Now that she is back, no one mentions Su Yaoyao anymore. In everyone's eyes, there is only his princess, with respect, glory, and praise, all for his princess. Su Tangyu chuckled upon hearing this. You certainly hold grudges. Whether Lu Jiao held grudges or not was another matter, but upon returning to the palace, Su Tangyu understood that Su Qian truly did hold grudges. Before her, Su Yaoyao was bound and gagged, kneeling on the ground in a disheveled state. Rumor has it that Su Yaoyao was responsible for Su Qian's critical condition today. Seeing Su Yaoyao's miserable state, Shen Lingmo was the first to show anger. He stepped forward and pointed at Su Yaoyao, coldly saying, I couldn't find you after that day, so you escaped from the border back to the capital. Su Yaoyao was already fading into unconsciousness, but upon hearing the familiar voice, she immediately looked up and cried out hopefully, Lingmo Gij, save me, Crown Prince Gij wants my life. As she finished speaking, Su Qian's weak voice came from inside the hall, who is shouting and yelling, disturbing my nap. Although it was the words of the person who once loved her the most, Su Yaoyao shuddered all over. The East Palace was filled with a strong, pungent smell of medicine. Su Qian's face was pale, and he lay back on the couch, looking like he was not long for this world. The Empress Dowager sat by his bed, her face gaunt. Seeing Su Tangyu enter, both of them shifted their gazes in unison, seemingly afraid to meet her eyes. The hall was silent for a long time. And finally Su Qian turned his gaze back and said softly, Tangyu, come and hear about the evil deeds Su Yaoyao has done to you. This weighty truth was discovered by Su Qian inadvertently. After Shen Lingmo went on the expedition, Su Yaoyao knew that he couldn't let go of Su Tangyu, and couldn't hide the jealousy in her heart, so she conspired with a eunuch to go to the border and kill Su Tangyu herself. Unexpectedly, she had just stolen Su Qian's seal and went out when she ran into Su Qian, who had been listening outside the door for an unknown amount of time. When Su Qian caught her and questioned her, Su Yaoyao stabbed him 3 times out of panic, each strike aimed at a vital point, which led to him being bedridden now. Afterward, Su Yaoyao fled to the border, still dreaming of glory. But Su Qian sent someone to capture her back. She was subjected to severe torture and harsh interrogation. Su Yaoyao couldn't withstand it and revealed the truth. Su Qian and the Empress Dowager only heard it once, but every time they recalled it, they were filled with deep regret, like being slowly sliced to death, and they only wanted to escape. But now, in front of Su Tangyu, they hardened their hearts, wanting only to restore Su Tangyu's innocence. After Su Qian signaled, the nanny behind Su Yaoyao picked up the whip, scaring her pupils to shrink sharply as she retreated. No, no, Brother Lingmo, save me. She wanted to ask Shen Lingmo for help, crawling to his feet to grab his clothes, but saw him step back directly. He watched Su Yaoyao being captured and taken for punishment with indifference. Snap! The sound of the leather whip striking flesh provoked a scream from Su Yaoyao. She reflexively opened her mouth and said, since entering the palace, I have been framing Su Tangyu, slapping myself and pretending she did it. Back then, it was also me who tried every means to frame Su Tangyu with poison. I deliberately shared the same bowl of soup with her, wanting her to accidentally die from poisoning, but I never expected that she had eaten Snow Mountain Ganoderma in her childhood, making her immune to all poisons. My plan failed, so I changed my strategy in time and endured until the poison took effect, making it impossible for her to defend herself and confirming her crime of harming me. And also, after the marriage alliance was established, I was afraid that Su Tangyu would be brought back, so I sent someone to kill her and spread the news of her death. That's all, just these, really nothing else. Please stop hitting me. Each and every incident was a malicious act of secret harm. As Su Yaoyoro's words came out, Shen Lingmo, Su Qian, and the Empress Dowager, who was sitting there, all clenched their fists.
Shen Lingmo replayed these words over and over in his mind. Despite being a robust military general, he couldn't stop his body from trembling. In the dream, he only knew that Su Yaoyao was unwilling to die and wanted to drag Su Tangyu down with her, but he didn't know that she had done these things before. What did he hear? Regarding the incident where Su Tangyu poisoned Su Yaoyao, it was actually Su Yaoyao who attempted murder but failed and framed Su Tangyu. Crying thief, Su Tangyu was forced to marry a foreign prince, yet Su Yaoyao still wanted to completely destroy her. Furthermore, Su Yaoyao's constant frail health is likely a pretense. So what did they do to Su Tangyu? Believing Su Yaoyao's words, they were convinced that she was the one who poisoned and harmed her. Su Qian sent people to whip her 10 times, leaving her bedridden for half a month. In order to accommodate Su Yaoyao's condition, they forced her to give up her palace. Give up everyone's favor. They always thought that everything Su Tangyu did was to gain attention, wanting to temper her character, and turned a blind eye to her injuries. But it turned out they were the ones who were wrong. Thinking of Su Tengyu's suffering in her past and present lives, Shen Lingmo felt a sharp pain in his heart. He couldn't hold it in any longer and vomited a mouthful of scarlet blood. Over there, Su Yaoyao was still begging for mercy. Her miserable screams filling the eastern palace, making the silence between the three even more pronounced. All three kept their heads lowered, not daring to meet Su Tengyu's gaze. They didn't know what Su Tangyu would think after hearing all this. Recalling the favoritism and scolding of the past, would she hate them? Su Qian's chest heaved violently, a sickly flush creeping onto his face. After a long while, he stopped the nanny, saying coldly, "She didn't say it well, tell her to say it again." She was supposed to talk about framing Su Tangyu, so why did Su Yaoyao have to mention their favoritism? Wouldn't this mean that they would no longer have the face to beg for forgiveness in front of Su Tangyu? Su Tangyu watched a great show. The truth of Su Yaoyao's betrayal was brought to light. But she wasn't as happy as she had imagined. In the past, she couldn't defend herself, and everyone believed she was wrong. In her previous life, she struggled and resisted. But the end result was a tragic death. In this life, she stopped caring long ago. If you don't care, where do the pleasure and joy come from? She just watched in silence. She didn't speak. But Su Yaoyao, who had been beaten unconscious and then awakened, couldn't bear it any longer. No one called a halt. And no matter how much Su Yaoyao begged for mercy, she couldn't avoid the whipping. Her cries had already become hoarse. But she still had to say, "What's the point of punishing me? Aren't you the ones who harmed Su Tangyu? It was you who whipped her, you who forced her into marriage, you who didn't believe her words. Everything was done by you. Why punish me? You are the ones who deserve to be punished the most. Shut up." Before she could finish speaking, a nanny, signaled by Su Qian, kicked her in the chest, sending her flying into the door, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Su Yaoyao lay on the ground, struggling to look up. Envying the glorious Su Tangyu, she envied her for being born a princess, envied her for being showered with endless love from birth, and for never having to suffer. Su Yaoyao still felt unwilling that she was an orphan, and that becoming a princess was like a sparrow turning into a phoenix. All lies. After entering the palace, everything she received was charity from Su Tangyu. She still has nothing and has to watch Su Tengyu's face, begging her for a bit of pity. But why? She wants to replace Su Tangyu. She also wants to be a princess envied by all. She jealously watched Su Tengyu's current success, and when she saw the blank expression on her face, Su Yaoyao felt a little proud again. She had been Qiong for a long time, and she really Qiong what Su Tangyu had. So what if everyone regrets it now? She still won in front of Su Tangyu. As long as she acts pitiful, someone will still take pity on her. She coughed twice on the ground before finally regaining her previous pitiful tone. "Royal grandmother, crown prince brother, Lingmo brother, I was just confused for a moment and wanted to gain your love. For so many years, Su Tangyu has been fine and hasn't been hurt. You all truly love me too, right, brother Lingmo? Have you forgotten the joy of our intimate night together? You even told me that I was the love of your life." As Su Yaoyao spoke, she looked at Su Tangyu, trying to provoke the sadness hidden beneath the other woman's calm facade. However, The strongest reactions came from the other three people. Shen Lingmo snatched the whip from the old nanny's hand and lashed out at Su Yaoyao with it, his brow furrowed in disgust as he said, "We were all just taking pity on you. Who knew you were just lying to us?" Su Qian also gritted his teeth and said, "If you hadn't pretended, how could we have let Tang Yu down? You deserve to die." The Empress Dowager suddenly slammed the table, pointing at Su Yaoyao and coldly said, "Guards, I don't want to hear her voice. Pull out her lying tongue and throw her into the water prison to be punished." Su Yaoyao's eyes widened in horror, not expecting them to be so cruel to her. She desperately tried to escape. "No, no, Ling Mo. Crown Prince, save me." Her pleas and cries were in vain. The three of them watched her indifferently, wanting only to make her repay the suffering Su Tangyu had endured. The sound of weeping gradually receded, but a silent atmosphere still enveloped the hall. Shen Lingmo, his eyes bloodshot, finally mustered the courage to call out, "Tangyu." Seeing Su Tangyu look over, he knelt down heavily, slamming his fist into the ground, not stopping even when he broke his finger bones. He apologized in a low voice, "I'm sorry Tangyu, I was wrong." Su Qian also regretted it, scrambling to his knees on the ground, slapping himself wildly towards Su Tangyu, wailing in agony, "Tangyu, sister, I'm sorry, your brother the Crown Prince is sorry." The Empress Dowager's eyes also reddened as she looked at Su Tangyu, asking anxiously, "Tangyu, are you willing to forgive us?" Su Tangyu was looked at with hope by three pairs of eyes, but she did not answer for a long time. After a long while, she looked at Su Qian and asked, "When will you die?" As soon as the words fell, Su Qian's eyes widened, as if he couldn't believe what he had heard, feeling as if his heart had been split in two. His already weak body could no longer support him, and his eyes showed despair. He thought, Tang Yu wanted him dead, so Su Tangyu didn't know what he was thinking and said to herself, "You don't know when you're going to die, but I know that in my previous life, I died in a snowy night 2 years ago, a painful and miserable death." The three of them trembled upon hearing this, especially Shen Lingmo. His face was pale and defeated, with almost despair in his eyes. He knelt forward, clutching at Su Tangyu's clothes. "Tangyu, it's all my fault, I ruined you. I don't expect you to accept me again, but I am willing to take poison and suffer the pain you suffered in your previous life to repay the debt. I ask for nothing else. Just that you can say the words 'I forgive you,' okay?" As he spoke, Shen Lingmo took out a jade bottle from his bosom and gulped it down. He wanted to show his resolve with this, only hoping for a little bit of sympathy from Su Tangyu. After drinking, he wanted to see the heartache on her face, but only saw her turning to leave. Shen Lingmo knelt blankly on the spot, as if petrified. At this moment, the tables have turned. The back view of Su Tangyu turning to leave is so similar to the back views he had left Su Tangyu many times before. Su Tangyu quickly left the East Palace, actually having heard Lu Zhao's whistle outside. As soon as she came out, before she could ask, Lu Zhao reported, "Princess, there is a court official outside the palace requesting an audience regarding the governance of the southwest floods." Su Tangyu immediately cast aside the wailing sound of whoever it was behind her. She said sternly, "Invite the person to the Hall of Political Affairs. I will be there immediately." Lu Zhao accepted the order and was about to turn around when Su Tangyu remembered something else. "Isn't the great prince still locked in the cage? Let him stay there and stop going on hunger strikes all day. After I officially supervise the country, I will let him return to the northern DI." Yes, perhaps it was too heartbreaking that the confession hadn't been answered. Su Tangyu had only been back in the capital for 5 days before hastily taking over the government affairs, preparing to ascend the throne. Because Su Qian was terminally ill, the imperial physicians said that they could only hope that the divine doctor by the emperor's side could save his life. He would be going to the imperial retreat soon. Su Tangyu granted his request, seeing him off on his final journey, and even specially asked Su Yaoyao to accompany him. Su Qian choked, nearly dying on the spot. However, he persevered, rambling his repentance to Su Tangyu, and taught her much about politics. Before he left, he had someone feed Su Yaoyao a cup of poisoned wine and tortured her to death. As for Shen Lingmo, after taking the poison, It clashed with the blood stasis and internal injuries in his body. He couldn't help but vomit a lot of blood, but luckily, he survived with a breath and was sent back to the Marquis's residence. The Empress Dowager, ashamed to face her, became a Buddhist nun in the small Buddhist hall, leaving her a message saying that she would pray for her day and night for the rest of her life. Su Tangyu had no time to pay attention to these messages. She has a headache. Why does the great prince refuse to return to the northern Di? After Su Tangyu asked her question, the newly promoted, young and handsome Vice Minister of the Ministry of Rights in front of her smiled and replied, "Your Highness." The barbarian said that he and the princess are already husband and wife, and he is willing to be the royal consort in the future, so he refuses to return to the northern Di. Su Tangyu was stunned. She really didn't expect the great prince to go to such lengths, and subconsciously asked, "Then what should we do? If your highness is unwilling, you can write a letter of divorce to cut off the barbarian's thoughts." Su Tangyu glanced at the vice minister in surprise, pondered for a moment, and was just about to speak when a eunuch came to report from outside, "Your Highness the Crown Princess, a letter of state has arrived from the northern Di." Su Tangyu's expression relaxed, thinking that it was the first prince's men who wanted to pick him up, and immediately called for them to come in and accepted the letter of credence. But after reading it, she was shocked again. The second prince and third prince both want to come and marry. It was written in black and white on the letter. Willing to marry. Su Tangyu read it several times before confirming that she had not misread, but there has never been a precedent for men marrying into foreign lands. Su Tangyu looked at the vice minister of the Ministry of Rights beside her. After a moment, she read the familiar two words in his eyes. Divorce papers. She twitched the corner of her mouth. "I didn't marry them." While they were talking, Lu Jiao, the Imperial Guard commander outside the palace, requested an audience. The young and handsome military officer looked at Su Tangyu and hesitated before uttering, "Your Highness, the flowers in the palace are in full bloom. According to custom, 100 flowers banquet should be held. I wonder how many young men your Highness intends to invite. She is the only one in the palace now, so inviting these young men is naturally for her sake." Su Tangyu's head ached even more upon hearing this. After a moment's thought, she simply waved her hand, postponed the discussion. With those words, she stepped out of the Hall of State Affairs, wanting to relax and not bringing anyone with her. Stepping outside the hall, she saw 100 flowers blooming, each vying for beauty, reflecting the prosperous scenery of Great Yang.